Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Villain. Take a concubine to become stronger. Marry the protagonist's mother at the beginning. Chapter 26. The disciples of the Holy Land, led by Xiao Luzi, surrounded Lin Tian to take care of him. On the high platform, Su Qingyang, who was serving as a judge for the award, also noticed the anomaly. He saw that many of the disciples were the ones who attended the class that day, and they were surrounding someone. Following his gaze, Su Qingyang's eyes suddenly focused. Yes, this must be the male lead, Lin Tian. He is outstanding, with a fierce appearance and a proud expression. Besides the male lead, Lin Tian, I can't think of any supporting character who could look like this. Based on his appearance and the anomaly, Su Qingyang immediately recognized Lin Tian as the male lead. Why are Xiao Luzi and the others surrounding Lin Tian? Could it be that they have fully implemented the unity and mutual assistance concept that I taught them that day? Using his divine sense secretly, Su Qingyang scanned the scene below and knew everything that was happening. Then Su Qingyang smiled, a very happy smile. So, the plot is that I sent my subordinate to provoke the male lead, Lin Tian, but ended up losing face and giving Lin Tian a good start. After that, Lin Tian became more and more powerful. But this time, HMPH. Just at that moment, just as Lin Tian was in a daze, a disciple suddenly approached him mysteriously. Junior brother Lin Tian. Junior brother Lin Tian. My name is Lu Jia. I have something good to give you, how about it? Before Lin Tian could react, because he had been thinking about why the plot had changed, he was a bit spiritually ascended. In the blink of an eye, he found that the number plate in his hand had been replaced by another hand. Originally, Lin Tian was number 10 and was supposed to participate in the upcoming battles and make it to the finals. But this Lu Jia knew that his strength was average, and if he made it to the finals with a seed token, it would be like sending himself as a sacrificial lamb. In addition, thinking about what the saint child said about the young man with strong talent who had a connection with the saintess during the competition, maybe he would be more suitable for this seed spot. By the way, Lu Jia could also take advantage of the situation and give Lin Tian a favor. He couldn't help but sigh that it was really a good thing. He, Lu Jia, truly is a man who knows himself well. But when Lin Tian realized what had happened, he immediately refused. What the hell? The seeded player has card number 0. Lu Jia thought that Lin Tian was just too happy, so he was a bit surprised. He waved his hand happily and said, Lin Tian junior brother, don't be surprised. The organizers didn't specify that players couldn't exchange their spot tokens. This has happened before. I have observed that Lin Tian junior brother is outstanding and talented. This token is of no use to me, but it will be more valuable in your hands. If Lin Tian junior brother remembers my kindness in the future, remember, my name is Lu Jia. Lu Jia. Lin Tian was suddenly shocked and couldn't believe what had just happened. He was about to respond, but unexpectedly, Lu Jia turned around and disappeared. Why couldn't he respond? In my previous life, although my cultivation level was higher than it is now, I didn't have the physique of a battle soul. My breakthroughs in battle were limited, mostly in realm and comprehension of techniques. But in this life, I have the physique of a battle soul, and I urgently need battles to unleash my potential. Lu Jia. Lin Tian clenched his fist slightly, feeling a sense of frustration that he couldn't put into words. If someone with strength had obtained this token, they would find it convenient. Lin Tian also had strength. But he needed battles. He needed battles to improve his strength. A feeling of dissatisfaction and indescribable frustration arose in Lin Tian's heart. He wanted intense battles to release the pent-up emotions within him. He didn't understand why he was so unlucky. And when the disciples around saw Lin Tian's appearance, they seemed a bit down and confused, wanting to go up and comfort junior brother Lin Tian. But at this moment, Lin Tian was unhappy in his heart, naturally ignoring them. Get lost. Lin Tian arrogantly cleared the way, then went straight to the players' rest area without looking back. Obviously, his mood was extremely depressed, and he didn't even want to speak. The disciples around Lin Tian were surprised by his abnormal behavior, and only asked him briefly, but they didn't expect Lin Tian to curse at them too. This made them feel very unhappy. But thinking about what Saint Child said, everyone developed a sense of pity for Lin Tian. Saint Child said that we should unite in friendship, and Lin Tian has been raised without parents since childhood, so he has some strange quirks and feels lonely. This is normal, let's not take it to heart. That's right, little sixth brother is right. We are all cultivators of the Holy Land, we should unite in friendship. It's just that Lin Tian's character cultivation must have some problems. It's obvious that he lacks care. It seems that we haven't taken enough care of Lin Tian, we can't let him feel a lack of unity and friendship in the Holy Land. Yes, what this senior brother said is absolutely right. By the way, I have a plan in my mind. I don't know what you all think, senior brothers. Good, then tell us in detail. Suddenly, countless contestants, because they saw Lin Tian's abnormality, began to show concern for Lin Tian and started a series of plans targeting him during the competition. And all of this fell into Su Qingyang's eyes. He, funny, really funny. Lin Tian must be furious because he got the seed token and couldn't continue fighting. Ha. And the elders next to him saw Su Qingyang laughing from time to time, and they spoke up in confusion. Why is Saint Child laughing? It's nothing, this Saint Child just suddenly found it interesting. Elders, this Saint Child has a proposal, I wonder if the elders have any thoughts. Please explain, Saint Child. In the Holy Land, except for the Great Elder and the Second Elder, the other elders have lower status than the Saint Child. And now, with Su Qingyang reaching the Spirit Wheel realm at the age of 18, almost all matters in the Holy Land will be primarily considered based on his opinions. After all, everyone admires the strong. When Su Qingyang becomes successful and becomes the Holy Lord in the future, they will also follow his lead. That's right, this Saint Child suddenly feels that just ranking the top 3 is too monotonous. I had a revelation while stargazing last night. I received a dream from the ancestor, who recorded a handwritten copy of a cultivation technique, which is the ancestor's experience in practicing the yin-yang holy art. So, this Saint Child wants to present it as an award this time, as an honorary prize, ranking above the first place. Saint Child, isn't this too shocking and unconventional? The cultivation experience of the ancestor's technique. Any disciple who obtains it will become a strong cultivator, as long as they follow the ancestor's path in cultivation. It doesn't matter. This cultivation experience doesn't offer much help to this Saint Child. I have a better way of cultivation. Let's consider it as motivation for the disciples of the Holy Land. Then let the elders vote immediately. Countless elders began to discuss this proposal on the high platform. In the end, considering Su Qingyang's strength and talent, all the sensible elders expressed their agreement and praise. Approved. Saint Child, you truly have a conscience. This act of greatness, contributing your own resources to the disciples of the sect, makes you a true-born Holy Lord. You care for the disciples of the Holy Land. When the decision was made, these elders didn't forget to flatter Su Qingyang. This is the advantage of having strong talent. By the way, let's not inform the disciples of the Holy Land for now. I will personally tell them during the award ceremony. Yes, Saint Child. Lin Tian didn't know why, but he felt a bit angry in his heart, a feeling of being played with. However, as the reincarnation of the great emperor, he was sensitive to the hearts of people. He could truly feel the good intentions of those people. But the more this was the case, the more depressed he felt in his heart. He, Lin Tian, didn't need this help at all. So, Lin Tian could only sit quietly in the lounge, maintaining a sense of keeping strangers at a distance. As the great emperor, he naturally disdained leaving his face behind to exchange participation tokens with others. Since things had come to this point, he could only bite the bullet and go. Don't be afraid, I, Lin Tian, am the reincarnation of the great emperor. Even if I am only at the mid-stage of the true conversion realm, I can still win in the finals against those in the early stage of the true human realm. In his previous life, he had made it to the finals, and his fierceness and reputation had come out. Imagining the pressure he put on his opponents. But now, he was nameless and powerless, only able to fight against those participants in the true human realm with his mid-stage true conversion cultivation. If it weren't for his experience in battles at the level of a great emperor, ordinary people would never be able to cross a major realm and fight against him. But it's okay. As long as I can fully develop my talent in battle, the stronger the battle, the more thoroughly my fighting war god soul will be developed. Since that's the case, I might as well go all out. Just the true human realm. I, Lin Tian, am the reincarnation of the mighty great emperor. I have never paid attention to such a low realm. In this way, Lin Tian simply went back to rest at Ziyun Peak. He didn't come for several days in a row, and he timed it so that he would only come on the day of the finals. Because there were too many participants in the early stages, and the battles had been going on for several days, Su Qingyang was also tired of watching, mainly because all the battles were between those in the lower realms. He found it really boring. Until the finals began. Oh, Lin Tian is here. Su Qingyang's eyes lit up, and he immediately straightened his back, observing the participants' platform. At this moment, Lin Tian's cultivation was at the mid-stage of the true conversion realm. And the referee's words also began. Alright, now we officially begin the final stage, and during the finals, there will also be a seated player shining on the stage. Please welcome the seated player, Lin Tian, at the mid-stage of the true conversion realm, to battle against Lu Yi at the early stage of the true human realm. Just as Lin Tian stepped onto the fighting stage, a slight anger welled up in his heart. Another surname Lu. Previously, he had been tricked by Lu Jia's kindness. What is your relationship with that Lu Jia? That's my younger brother, Lin Tian's junior brother, be careful. Being able to cultivate to the true human realm before the age of 25 meant that he had some talent. Although his talent was not as invincible as Su Qingyang's, he could still be considered an elite disciple in a holy land. Good, very good. Lin Tian laughed arrogantly, clenching his fist forcefully. Finally, he could fight properly. He longed for a passionate battle. He longed to vent his frustration. It would be best if they were all surnamed Lu. He, Lin Tian, would make them call him Grandpa. Lin Tian stood on the fighting stage, surrounded by numerous disciples from the Holy Land, watching. His eyes were shining with a faint purple fire, and as his spiritual energy surged, a wave of heat filled the air. This was his technique. The burning heaven art. What a majestic momentum. Lu Yi's gaze became serious as he stared. He had thought it would be an easy battle, but seeing how powerful his opponent was, he realized it wouldn't be so simple. Indeed, as Saint Child mentioned, Lin Tian's talent is extraordinary. However, I am not to be underestimated either. Come. Lu Yi gripped his twin swords and charged forward, fully unleashing his formidable true human realm initial cultivation, without holding back. The sword chi condensed into a strong oppressive force with a bluish-green true chi. Even Lin Tian couldn't help but glance sideways. After all, his cultivation level was lower now. The pressure brought by the opponent's cultivation level was real. Lin Tian's junior brother, be careful. This is a technique I specifically cultivated, the fusion of twin swords, naturally suppressing those with lower cultivation levels. Lu Yi kindly reminded, but unexpectedly Lin Tian didn't appreciate it at all. What a load of nonsense, I'll make Lin Tian die. Lin Tian directly mocked. Completely disregarding it, the purple fire of the burning heaven decision in his hand spun and brought forth a strong fist shadow as it rushed forward. And Lu Yi saw that Lin Tian's junior brother was so arrogant and not angry at all. After all, they all understood Lin Tian's upbringing. Being a loner since childhood, without parents, he could accept his somewhat cold and arrogant personality. But that doesn't mean Lu Yi will hold back. The twin swords unite. Slash. A strong blue sword energy formed a heavy sense of oppression in the sky. Then it heavily smashed onto Lin Tian's purple fire fist shadow. The collision of the two formed a powerful airflow that swept through. Lin Tian's cultivation level was higher, but Lu Yi's realm and true chi quality were higher. Neither side gave in, it was a stalemate. However, it was a battle of attrition. Lin Tian naturally couldn't match Lu Yi. Several consecutive sword energies were swung down, and Lin Tian struggled to defend. How can he be so strong? Lin Tian was shocked in his heart. In his previous life, the disciples and cultivators of this holy land were just a bunch of idiots. Why does it feel so strong now? This can't be blamed on Lin Tian being arrogant. In his previous life, his realm was high, and he became braver in battle, honing himself in combat. But in this life, he lacked the previous battles. Coupled with his realm and momentum being severely insufficient. Only the first match of the finals, Lin Tian felt his full strength being ignited. But this also made him feel hot-blooded. Come on, only by defeating you can I truly climb to the peak. Lin Tian, junior brother, come on. At this moment, Even though Lin Tian was at a disadvantage in the battle, he still didn't forget to boast and compare himself, but Lu Yi on the opposite side was not provoked at all. He still voiced his concern for Lin Tian, making Lin Tian even more frustrated and angry. Their disciples also paid attention when Su Qingyang gave a lecture. Saint Child specifically said, "Even when facing low-level cultivators in battle, we cannot be careless. We cannot be reckless." Moreover, Saint Child said, "Lin Tian, this child, is a young talent with great luck. How could he be easily defeated?" Lu Yi was cautious in his heart, not giving Lin Tian any opportunity to find a flaw. He moved around the edge of the battlefield, clashing with Lin Tian using the chi of his twin swords. The more they fought, the more shocked Lu Yi became in his heart, including the countless spectators on the field who were amazed by Lin Tian's strength. This child is called Lin Tian. With only the cultivation of the mid-stage of true conversion realm, he can go back and forth with someone in the early stage of true human realm, not falling behind. His talent is truly terrifying. Yes, and I heard that he grew up without parents, with a proud and cold personality, often walking alone. No wonder, I said as soon as he came on stage, this Lin Tian likes to provoke his opponents. It turns out he grew up in such an environment. What we emphasize in our sacred land is unity and friendship. Disciples like Lin Tian, we should take care of him more. Let him have a sense of belonging to the sacred land, just like our own family. The stage was heated, and the discussions below were also heated. And those people didn't care about the volume of their voices. Listening to them, Lin Tian's head felt hot, his chest felt sweet, and he almost fainted. You bunch of orphans who were never raised by your parents. Lin Tian always felt that someone was pitying him, or rather, being sarcastic. No wonder he felt a lingering resentment in his heart, and the way people around him looked at him was not quite right. Everyone in Yin-Yang sacred land thinks he's an orphan. They think he lacks care. Lin Tian's anger skyrocketed in an instant. It turns out that everyone in the Yin-Yang sacred land treats him like a treasure, claiming to take care of him in various ways, calling him junior brother and so on. Since he was young, Lin Tian has been alone, without parents to take care of him. Every word strikes directly at Lin Tian's heart. Although he maintains a calm mindset, these words are basically insulting him as an orphan. Veins bulged on Lin Tian's forehead, wanting to vent his dissatisfaction. He transformed into a wild beast with purple fur. The purple fire spiritual energy on his body was raging, causing the opponent, Lu Yi, to be somewhat shocked by Lin Tian's powerful aura. He was actually able to surpass a major realm and bring such a strong sense of oppression to Lu Yi. He is a finalist, not one of those newcomers to the competition. They all have their own powerful talents and strength. Lin Tian transformed into a creature resembling a demon. His whole body was enveloped in a powerful dark purple aura. His hands turned into two sharp demon claws, exuding intense pressure and sharpness. It seemed as if he could easily tear through the opponent's defense. And this peculiar image naturally caught the attention of countless people below the stage, including Lu Yi. It seems that junior brother Lin Tian is about to unleash his ultimate move. I need to be careful. If I really can't match up. The Lu family members are all very self-aware and have received teachings and true transmissions from Saint Child. They also uphold the spirit of unity and friendship to the fullest. Junior brother Lin Tian is about to unleash his power. I, as your senior brother, will not hold back either. Be careful, junior brother Lin Tian. Dance with the twin swords. Lu Yi held a green longsword and a blue longsword, with green and blue true chi flowing throughout his body, finally converging on the two unique spiritual longswords. The longswords hummed and trembled with excitement, as if they were extremely thrilled at this moment. And Lu Yi himself closed his eyes, then opened them again. Two beams of green and blue light lit up, piercing through the air. There is a strong sense of sharpness flowing in the eyes, penetrating the depths of one's soul. It can be said that he has pushed his own strength to the extreme. On the other side, Lin Tian's face is solemn, his gaze is lifeless, hindered by the inability to kill in the arena. But he can still cripple his opponent. Burning Heaven Decision. 9 Nether Purple Fire. With this move, Lin Tian directly unleashes his trump card. He is truly a bit provoked. He only wants to crush this Lu Yi in front of him immediately. And then mock all the spectators in public. Intense flames soar into the sky, the enormous purple fire transforms into a shadow of a demon, rushing into the sky, causing the spectators to be shocked. Is this the power that can erupt in the mid-stage of true conversion realm? This Lin Tian, he is truly terrifying. Yes, he is really strong. Is it because he wasn't raised by his parents that Lin Tian cultivated so diligently? At this moment, I really feel sorry for junior brother Lin Tian. What this junior sister said is right, I feel the same way. Junior brother Lin Tian is really pitiful. He must have put in a lot of effort to obtain this transcendent power. Yes, junior brother Lin Tian is really heart-wrenching. Quote! Lin Tian's state of mind almost loses balance. The words spoken by these spectators are so stimulating that he can't even stabilize his cultivation technique. Fortunately, he is a reincarnation of a great emperor, with a stable state of mind. But he is also human, with a heart made of flesh. It is impossible for him to be insulted and not react to the sarcastic remarks. Shut up! Lin Tian roared in anger. His voice was so loud that it frightened the audience below, emanating from the mouth of that ghostly armor, causing the spectators to lose their composure. The audience just paused for a moment, then immediately turned their attention back to Lin Tian. Junior brother Lin Tian is feeling shy. He doesn't want us to care about him like this, and he even revealed his background so clearly, making him so embarrassed. I misspoke, senior brother. Senior brother, why bother being distressed? Junior sister and junior brother feel the same way. We genuinely care about junior brother Lin Tian. Junior brother Lin Tian will understand our intentions. Lin Tian felt a slight disturbance in his great emperor state of mind that he had cultivated for many years. He felt that these people might be intentionally mocking him. But he didn't want to have a spiritual ascension, because it was a critical moment in the battle. He was fighting against opponents of a higher level. This was very dangerous. Even the referee looked nervous and focused, afraid that the two prodigies would fight too fiercely and cause an accident. A purple ghostly figure, enveloped in dark purple flames, collided tightly with the two long swords in Lu Yi's hands. The two long swords stirred up two gusts of wind, causing the surrounding air to form a huge tornado that collided with the figure. Boom! A loud noise resounded. Dust filled the air. Boom! Another loud noise followed, and then the sound of metal clashing, making it difficult for the audience below to see what was happening on the stage. But even with just a little bit of common sense, they understood that the battle had reached its crucial moment. Whoever persisted until the end, that person would be the winner. It's so intense. Lin Tian, with his cultivation at the mid-stage of true conversion, can hold on to this extent. It truly amazes me. Such talent. I have only seen this kind of talent in the Holy Maiden. Yes, given time, if Lin Tian continues to grow, he will definitely be at the level of a direct disciple of the Holy Land. He can fight across major realms. Splurt! A sound was heard, and a figure of fire flew out from the dust. It was Lin Tian. Although Lin Tian has integrated the heavenly fire and has good spiritual energy quality, his cultivation technique is also more advanced and he is more proficient in the key points. But unfortunately, his spiritual energy is ultimately limited. When it comes to attacks, he is on par with Lu Yi. In terms of endurance, he is ultimately at a disadvantage. The disheveled figure flew out and landed on the edge of the stage. Just when the audience below thought that Lin Tian had lost, they saw him slowly stand up. Blood continued to flow from his body, with various wounds, but his aura grew even stronger. His gaze was piercing. The purple fire in his eyes seemed to want to burst out of his body. Although the ghostly purple fire on his armor dissipated, leaving only his battered body, Lin Tian's aura was earth-shattering, and he shouted loudly. Amazing! Come again! With a furious shout, Lin Tian's battle god soul was activated, and he finally experienced the joy of battle. Only such a powerful enemy could completely ignite his desire to fight. And, vaguely, Lin Tian felt a loosening in his own realm. As long as he continued to fight, he could break through to the later stage of true conversion at any time. This would also greatly help him in the final match, making Lin Tian even stronger. When Lin Tian became excited and felt the power of his own physique, a hand slowly raised. Elder referee, Lu Yi concedes. Quote? As the dust settled, Lu Yi looked disheveled, although not as miserable as Lin Tian, but his condition was not good either. But what he was more concerned about was his opponent, Lin Tian. Junior brother Lin Tian, I didn't hurt you just now, did I? Quote. Lin Tian was a little dazed, and his aura weakened slightly. The referee immediately made a decision. The first match of the finals. Lin Tian wins. No, Lin Tian wanted to say something profound, but he didn't know what to say. After all, he won, and the countless praises from the audience made him somewhat incredulous. We agreed to resist with all our might, to fight to the death. We won't give up until the very last moment. I haven't reached my breakthrough yet. Lin Tian's heart was about to explode, but he couldn't get angry for no reason. The audience thought his flushed face was a sign of happiness. Ah, Lin Tian junior brother, I didn't expect you to be so talented, able to fight beyond your level and achieve such amazing results. It seems that what Saint Child said is true. Lin Tian is truly a gifted and unparalleled individual. Yes, what our senior brothers said is right. Lin Tian must be very happy right now. To win in the finals. Displaying such strength has gained the attention of the elders of the Holy Land. And that Lu Yi, at this moment, also looked towards Saint Child Su Qingyang on the high platform. It seemed to imply, Saint Child, although Lu Yi didn't give it his all, he is already exhausted. Continuing the fight would be meaningless, and he definitely won't be a match for Lin Tian junior brother. So it's better to voluntarily admit defeat. To avoid the reputation of bullying Lin Tian junior brother. The disciples of the Holy Land will unite in friendship and take care of Lin Tian junior brother. Su Qingyang also noticed the gaze of Lin Tian's opponent, which seemed to contain deep meaning that he couldn't understand. But Su Qingyang was very happy, he could just feel it. If Lin Tian continued to fight, his talent would probably fully erupt. But at this moment, he was suddenly interrupted. It felt as uncomfortable as interrupting a man casting a spell. After holding it in for so long, not being able to release it would cause internal injuries. At this moment, even the ring in Lin Tian's hand came out. Wu Lao, kid, you have great talent. You were able to develop my burning heaven technique so perfectly. You are indeed the perfect candidate to inherit my legacy. When will you become my disciple? Look, even a higher realm is just a casual challenge for you. If you become my disciple, you will become a saint in no time. Lin Tian. As a reincarnated great emperor, Lin Tian almost lost his body in his previous life, so he naturally wouldn't become Wu Lao's disciple, but he wouldn't miss out on the resources. Kid, are you worried that your future opponents will be too strong? Don't worry, if you can't beat them, I'll step in for you. In the previous life, Wu Lao needed to flatter others, but in this life, he became Lin Tian's lackey because Lin Tian's talent was too good. He could learn anything effortlessly. Get lost. Lin Tian felt frustrated and directly blocked his divine sense. What he yearned for was battles that would make his soul tremble. But in the end, when he wanted to unleash his talent, his opponent surrendered. It made Lin Tian feel so frustrated that he wanted to vomit blood. It felt like throwing punches into thin air, hitting cotton. It made Lin Tian feel a bit deflated. I, the passionate great emperor Lin Tian, have returned. In the first battle of Yin-Yang Sacred Land, I skipped the preliminaries and went straight to the finals. It went so smoothly, which is not in line with common sense. Lin Tian couldn't figure out why, no matter how much he thought about it. In the end, he could only helplessly go back to rest because he still had more matches to participate in. However, this time I didn't release my physique for training. I'm afraid the upcoming battles will be extremely difficult and painful. Although Lin Tian was filled with anger, he didn't lose his rationality. He was thinking about how to proceed with the next matches because the rewards for becoming the first in the Sacred Land competition were truly abundant. He had to obtain them. Well, let's take it step by step. Lin Tian sighed. At present, he could still continue fighting against higher-level opponents, but the pressure would be terrifying. And when necessary, he might have to pay some price. After all, as a former great emperor in his previous life, how could he not have some secret methods to temporarily break through realms and burn himself? Those things, however, have enormous potential for harmful side effects. If there aren't enough resources to supplement them, it will be a huge burden for Lin Tian and may even affect his future cultivation. But it's okay, as long as I can achieve first place in the competition. It will all be worth it. During Lin Tian's rest, the holy maiden Wu Qingran came over to console him. After all, she had a favorable impression of Lin Tian, and she couldn't bear to see him fighting so fiercely. The things the surrounding audience said, like how Lin Tian grew up without parents, made her feel a bit strange, and she subconsciously wanted to show some concern for Lin Tian. Of course, it was just simple concern, not love. Wu Qingran was quite proud in her heart. She only liked exceptional talents. Lin Tian Jr., are you okay? I noticed that many of the audience members were saying that you grew up without parents, which is why you cultivate so diligently. Is that true? Originally, Lin Tian was in a good mood when he saw Wu Qingran. After all, she was his future woman and could help him in his cultivation. But then Wu Qingran came up and said he was an orphan, and his previously calm state of mind was once again filled with the scenes of countless people saying he was an orphan in need of care. Dancing miss, I'm not feeling well and want to rest properly. Lin Tian's voice immediately turned cold. Giving a clear order to leave, Wu Qingran, feeling helpless, had no choice but to depart. Although she was curious about Lin Tian, she didn't have the intention to directly care for him to that extent. Not long after she left, whether it was Wu Qingran's imagination or not, she heard a muffled sound of a fist hitting the ground, so she turned her head. Lin Tian Jr., are you really okay? No problem, Miss Wu, I'm fine. Please go back first. This time, Lin Tian's lack of courtesy made Wu Qingran slightly lower her opinion of him. After all, she came specifically to console him, but Lin Tian didn't give her face. She should consider whether Lin Tian is suitable or not. After all, Lin Tian's cultivation level is so low. If he doesn't improve it, she can't accept it. After Wu Qingran left, Lin Tian angrily punched the floor again. Who said I didn't have parents since I was young? Don't let me catch you. Now the whole sacred land is spreading rumors that I, Lin Tian, don't have parents. Those fools must have never died, right? Lin Tian's anger surged, but he could only vent it himself. Because those people genuinely cared about him, should he go bother others and beat them up for no reason? Although he was extremely disgusted by these people, it didn't mean he was brainless. His cultivation level was low now. The consequences of angering the entire sacred land were terrifying. Unless he didn't want to stay in the Yin-Yang sacred land to continue his cultivation. There were several of his past women here. And who said I don't have parents? My mother, Qin Shui, is among Su Qingyang's attendants. Mother, wait for me. When little Tian becomes the first place in the sect competition, I will propose to the elders of the sacred land to bring you back from the hands of the saint child. And then, I'll crush that worthless yin-yang saint child to death. In his past life, it was because he knew that Lin Tian's mother was one of Su Qingyang's attendants that Qin Shui suffered various forms of bullying and abuse from Su Qingyang. In this life, Lin Tian would certainly not repeat the same mistakes. He would endure until he had the strength to save his mother. And the first step is to win the first place prize in the Sacred Land competition. And the abundant resources. The 8th match of the finals, True Conversion Mid-Stage Lin Tian vs True Human Mid-Stage Zhang Yihong. A cultivator's battle can be fast or slow, but unless the opponents are evenly matched, it can be over in half an hour or even just 15 minutes. So, as evening approached, it was time for the final match of the day, and once again, Lin Tian took the stage. Lin Tian adjusted his breathing, walked onto the field, his gaze deep and calm, taking a gentle breath, clearly trying to maintain the best fighting state, as the upcoming battle would be intense. Look, it's junior brother Lin Tian. The one who grew up alone, without parents, and trained diligently to be able to fight opponents of higher levels. PFF'd. Lin Tian almost choked on the breath he had just taken. Those spectators again. Lin Tian's heart, which had just calmed down after a day of adjustment, was slightly stirred up again. It was nauseating, but fortunately, after a day of preparation, no matter what those spectators said, he wouldn't easily be distracted. Ah, why is the Holy Maiden so close to the Saint Child? Just as the referee announced the start of the match, some clueless disciple saw Wu Qingran standing next to Su Qingyang and exclaimed in surprise. Naturally, Lin Tian's attention was also drawn to it. After all, Wu Qingran was his chosen woman. She could help him in his cultivation. He couldn't help but be distracted. However, just as Lin Tian turned his head, a big fist came flying towards him. By the time Lin Tian reacted, he could only barely raise his hands to block in front of his chest. But in his panic and with such a huge difference in cultivation level, Lin Tian was sent flying with a single blow, spitting out a mouthful of blood in midair. In the air, Lin Tian thought to himself, this young person has no sense of martial ethics. Sneak attacking me. And this scene of Lin Tian being knocked away at the beginning of the match happened to be seen by Wu Qingran next to Su Qingyang on the arena. What's going on with Lin Tian Jr. brother? That day in the secret realm, Lin Tian Jr. brother displayed great power, killing monsters like a god descending to save me from danger. But now, when compared to the disciples of the Holy Land, he has become so weak, like a useless person. Wu Qingran frowned, feeling a sense of annoyance in his heart. He had only come to offer some consolation to Lin Tian in the morning, but Lin Tian's attitude was so bad. Now, in the battle, he was immediately knocked away, which was extremely embarrassing. This made Wu Qingran feel disappointed. On the other side, in the midst of the battle, although Lin Tian was knocked away, fortunately, his opponent did not continue to attack while he was down. Instead, he stopped and spoke with some apology and comfort. Sorry, Lin Tian Jr. brother. Because I watched your battle yesterday and thought that Lin Tian Jr. brother had great talent, I fought more cautiously. I didn't expect Lin Tian Jr. brother to be so weak. It's my fault. Zhang Yihong spoke, and Lin Tian felt insulted. This minor injury was nothing important, just some blood spitting. The key point was that his opponent actually mocked him for being weak. Who do you think you're looking down on? I'll kill you. Coincidentally, after the morning's battle and a day of being treated badly, although Lin Tian had won the competition, he was already unhappy in his heart. At this moment, his anger was uncontrollable and could only be vented through a life and death battle. Lin Tian's mouth was stained with blood, his eyes showing a fierce look, like a ferocious beast hunting its prey. Seeing Lin Tian's appearance, Zhang Yihong's eyes became cautious as he assumed a defensive stance. Lin Tian transformed into a purple fire asura, enveloped in the 9 nether purple fire, his momentum fully unleashed. With Lin Tian wearing armor, he looked like a war god, charging directly on the field. Purple fire, 9 nether abyss. The entire arena was engulfed in the spiritual energy carried by Lin Tian, surrounded by purple flames. Zhang Yihong on the opposite side also had a serious expression. Golden Stone Domain. Zhang Yihong activated his own martial art domain. Within a 3-meter range around him, a strong aura of hard golden stone circulated in the air, making it impossible for Lin Tian's purple fire to burn or approach. And this powerful momentum and technique made Lin Tian's eyes narrow. He felt something was very wrong. Why is the opponent's defense so strong? Before Lin Tian could react, Zhang Yihong fiercely charged with a brutal collision. Without any hesitation, he intended to break Lin Tian with his powerful physical strength. Lin Tian felt that he couldn't dodge this move, so he activated his own technique to collide with it. Bursting Flame Fist. Lin Tian is an expert in heavenly fire, and in his previous life, he even became the emperor of the most powerful heavenly fire in the integrated union. But in this life, he is even stronger. He has integrated the fighting spirit of the god of war. The bursting purple flame fist collided with Zhang Yihong's solemn golden stone domain. The latter seemed like a little golden man. Boom. Bang. After the collision, the two engaged in a fierce exchange of punches and kicks. There were no fancy showy skills, only the satisfying feeling of each punch landing. It made Lin Tian feel the joy of battle. Although his body was uncomfortable from being hit, his fighting spirit became even stronger. Su Qingyang, who was in the position of the award judge, also secretly felt that things were not looking good. Not good. Lin Tian is about to activate his physique. This kind of passionate battle, a physical cultivation that goes all out. It can thoroughly stimulate Lin Tian's innate physique talent, and allow him to advance in battle. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Lin Tian felt like he was on fire again. Laughing wildly, spitting blood from his mouth. While crazily exchanging punches and kicks with his opponent, his expression was clearly extremely comfortable. It seemed as if his physique was about to erupt in the next moment, and then allow him to advance to the later stage of true conversion. The battle wouldn't be so difficult anymore. Even the audience below was amazed by Lin Tian's combat power. This Lin Tian, truly terrifying. He can last so long against Zhang Yihong in the mid-stage of true conversion. He really is a genius. Yes, the more this is the case, the more I feel sorry for Lin Tian's growth environment. He has worked so hard since he was young, I really feel sorry for him. When all the audience, even the judges and referees, thought that Lin Tian had the advantage and was winning in the battle, Zhang Yihong couldn't help but speak. Lin Tian, as long as you're happy, it's good. Thinking about how you didn't have your parents by your side since you were young, and now you can fight so happily, it's my responsibility as senior brother Zhang. Upon hearing the opponent's words, Lin Tian was a bit confused. No, what do you mean, responsibility? When did I ask you to take care of me? But Zhang Yihong continued to speak. Lin Tian, be careful, senior brother Zhang is about to explode, I hope you can withstand it. Perfect, I also want a fierce battle. Lin Tian was confused, what did that mean? Could it be that the other party was taking care of him earlier and holding back? Golden Stone Domain, turn stone into gold, activate. Zhang Yihong quickly stimulated the potential acupoints all over his body. Immediately, his skin turned red and his blood flow accelerated. Before Lin Tian could react, he was about to charge at him recklessly. You forced me to do this. Lin Tian felt extremely displeased. So it turns out that his opponent was just playing with him earlier and didn't really use his true strength. Even if I win, I want to win with honor. As soon as Lin Tian finished speaking, he received numerous praises from the disciples. Good, junior brother Lin Tian is right. A man should win with honor. That's right, I didn't expect junior brother Lin Tian, who lacks manners, to have such a righteous concept of battle. Admirable. Lin Tian's head buzzed, his anger rising, but he could only block the barrage of comments from the audience. He forcibly suppressed his mind, ignoring the audience's nonsense, and focused on controlling his techniques seriously. Burning Heaven decision. Ignite the potential. The other party completely disregarded Lin Tian. Lin Tian directly unleashed his potential secret technique and fought against Zhang Yihong. Defeat me. Lin Tian's cultivation level was extremely high. In his previous life, he was a great emperor, far surpassing these ordinary cultivators. With just a burst of power, he directly crossed realms from the mid-stage of true conversion to the late stage. His fist smashed into Zhang Yihong's attack. The latter also felt immense pressure. Junior brother Lin Tian's attack is truly powerful. Zhang Yihong sighed, truly extraordinary, as expected of the luck youth entrusted by Saint Child. Both of them have explosive potential. Lin Tian's increase in strength is not much weaker than him. It made it impossible for him to fight back directly. But Zhang Yihong is not to be underestimated either. They clashed with Lin Tian continuously for about 20 times. Finally, in the last clash, blood flowed from the corner of Zhang Yihong's mouth, while Lin Tian gradually gained the upper hand. He felt like he had entered a mysterious realm. This is the feeling of a breakthrough. Just as Lin Tian sensed something unusual, a change occurred. Zhang Yihong suddenly made a mistake in predicting an attack and was hit by Lin Tian, suffering some injuries. Then, he was at a disadvantage. And when he saw that he couldn't defeat Lin Tian, Zhang Yihong directly shouted, I give up. Lin Tian Jr. is truly strong. He deserves admiration for growing up alone since childhood and practicing diligently. I am in awe. Referee, Zhang Yihong surrenders. With these two sentences, Lin Tian was directly provoked. What's going on? Here it comes again. No, I haven't finished yet. After saying that, Lin Tian rushed up again, wanting to attack once more. He had already reached the threshold of a realm breakthrough, just one step away from stabilizing in the later stage of true conversion. But unfortunately, the guy on the opposite side surrendered directly. It's really giving face. Stop, Lin Tian, the opponent has already surrendered. If you continue to attack, you will lose your qualification for the match. The referee is a fair person, who will not show favoritism and will only act according to the rules. Zhang Yihong surrendered, so Lin Tian could only be pushed back in the comparison. But his face was gloomy, his complexion turned as red as a pig's liver, and he felt as uncomfortable as if he had eaten shit. His spirit, his fighting spirit, all taken away by his opponent. His mentality was about to be unbalanced. Does the disciple of Yin Yang Sacred Land have a mental problem? Always messing with Kun Ba stuff. Can't they have a fair and square duel with me, Lin Tian? Every crucial moment, they can't win, what's with this Kun? Lin Tian's anger was unimaginable. He even wished he could summon his strongest ability and slap the referee to death. If looks could kill, Lin Tian wished he could kill everyone present, including those barrage comments, the audience speaking Kun Ba language. It made him furious. It was like pointing at his nose and calling him an orphan. And they were sincere about it. It made Lin Tian feel so uncomfortable. Seeing Lin Tian's bad complexion, the referee quickly sent him off the stage, afraid that he would cause trouble. And when Lin Tian stepped down from the stage, there were still some confused audience members around. Junior brother Lin Tian is really strong. He can erupt with the cultivation of the later stage and any true conversion mid-stage, and he can even defeat and kill Zhang Yihong in the mid-stage of true human realm. I really admire him. That's right, junior brother Lin Tian has outstanding talent, although his cultivation is not enough. But he will definitely become a strong person in the future, it's just a matter of time. That's for sure. Lin Tian, who has endured 10 levels of loneliness since childhood, probably has nothing in his life except becoming strong. So junior brother Lin Tian, please rest assured, if you have any difficulties, you must come to us. Lin Tian was furious, pushing away the crowd around him, leaving them speechless. Hey, junior brother Lin Tian must be too excited, winning another final, unable to control his eccentric personality. Let's not take it to heart. Senior brother is right, we understand these principles. Junior brother Lin Tian is everyone's junior brother, we should take care of him together. When Lin Tian walked back to the players' rest area, he almost stumbled, obviously angered by the crowd. Who needs their care? Lin Tian won, but he felt more uncomfortable than losing the match, as if he had eaten a small hamburger. The hot blood and battle he longed for always got interrupted at critical moments. It's like a man being interrupted while trying to do something. It's simply unbearable and frustrating, even worse than killing him. The heart is filled with suffocating anguish that cannot be released. However, Lin Tian didn't know that this was just the beginning of his nightmare. The next day, morning. Wow, Lin Tian junior brother is so strong. He won again. Afternoon. Awesome. Lin Tian junior brother always makes his opponents surrender. The third day. Oh my god, this is too strong. Lin Tian junior brother can already fight against true human in the mid-stage of true conversion. It's as if the difference in realms doesn't exist in Lin Tian junior brother's eyes. That's right, Lin Tian junior brother is amazing. Until the afternoon, the crowd couldn't bear it any longer. The group of audience members who were not brainwashed by Su Qingyang shouted, demanding the referee and elders to review the situation. I refuse to accept it. Lin Tian is cheating. He must have bribed some disciples and made them all surrender. I don't accept it, there's a conspiracy. That's right, there's a conspiracy. What conspiracy? Lin Tian junior brother has excellent aptitude and extraordinary talent. Winning is only natural for him. Finally, when the elders were unable to decide, Su Qingyang had to step forward and publicly stop the commotion. The surrenderers did so voluntarily. There is no conspiracy, and our Holy Land is meant to be united in friendship and mutual assistance. Please don't misunderstand, those participants surrendered because they were not able to defeat their opponents. Whether what Su Qingyang said was true or not, the disciples of the Holy Land had no choice but to endure it. After all, the saint child had said that there was no conspiracy. Meanwhile, Wu Qingran, who was on the side, felt contempt in her heart. She used to have a favorable impression of Lin Tian. But now, in this situation, anyone who isn't a fool can see that there's something fishy about Lin Tian. Lin Tian, I never expected you to be this kind of person. I was really wrong about you. Lin Tian couldn't have imagined that just because he won the match without even trying, he would lose the woman. However, this was only the beginning. Lin Tian didn't want this. He was forced into it. The fourth day of the Sacred Land Competition Finals. The final match. Mid-stage True Conversion Realm, Lin Tian. Facing off against Peak Stage True Human Realm, Lu Bing. Finally, Lin Tian encountered the strongest opponent he had ever faced in a competition. Lu Bing was also one of the favorites to win the championship. But why does his last name have to be Lu again? Lin Tian felt a chill in his heart. It all started from the day Lu Jia exchanged tokens with him, causing him to lose his qualification for the preliminary battles. Then Lu Yi surrendered, and Lin Tian began to win effortlessly. Lin Tian couldn't understand what had happened. He felt as if an invisible hand was manipulating everything. The plot had completely changed. The yin-yang sacred land became united and caring, taking care of his every need. It made him feel both strange and puzzled. This was not what Lin Tian wanted. He wanted a fierce battle, a battle that would allow him to break through his own limits. I, Lin Tian, just want a fair and honorable fight. Why is it so difficult? On the other side, Lu Bing seemed to have noticed the despair and numbness in Lin Tian's eyes, as if he were a puppet. After several days of doing nothing, his realm remained the same. Not only that, because of the exhaustion of his potential, his spirit was filled with listlessness, which greatly affected his future realm breakthroughs. Lin Tian had lost his fighting spirit. He felt a bit defeated. Finally, with his opponent standing in front of him, a faint light returned to Lin Tian's eyes. Peak stage true human realm, you won't surrender, will you? Without caring about anything else, Lin Tian spoke first, afraid that his opponent would surrender. Lu Bing's mouth twitched. Over the past few days, he had watched his own brothers cause trouble and witnessed Lin Tian's effortless victories. It had become a hot topic in the audience. Many elders in the Holy Land are doubting whether Lin Tian is the illegitimate child of the Holy Lord. He has some special identity. He secretly bribed some participants and so on. In short, there are constant hidden schemes. Lu Bing felt a little unhappy, being pointed at by Lin Tian. How is this possible? The men of my Lu family have self-awareness. Moreover, I have reached the peak of the true human realm. How could I surrender? Even if I fall on the arena today, I will not surrender to you, Lin Tian. Bullshit. Lin Tian directly cursed. Lu Bing ignored him and began to attack. And Lin Tian also took a deep breath. I don't care anymore. Even if I lie down and win, it doesn't matter. As long as I can get the first place reward, all the efforts are worth it. Even if I don't have the opportunity to refine my combat skills now, I can find another chance in the future. The world is so big, there is no place I, Lin Tian, cannot go. Lin Tian's eyes regained their brilliance, showing determination as he fought against Lu Bing. The audience below was also shocked by Lin Tian's strength. He's at the mid-stage of true conversion fighting against someone at the peak of true human, it's like crossing two realms. Lin Tian is really amazing. If it weren't for the hidden schemes, I would almost believe. Yes, I didn't expect that someone like Lin Tian, who has never been loved since childhood, would resort to such cunning tactics. It's really disappointing. Hey, Lin Tian is only a 17-year-old child, it's normal for him to make mistakes. Let's not take it too seriously. The disciples of the Holy Land chatted and gossiped, not caring about how infuriated Lin Tian was on the stage. However, he had become somewhat numb, not wanting to pay attention to what the audience was saying. However, this battle lasted a long time. They fought for the entire morning. It was difficult to separate, even though Lin Tian, as the reincarnation of a great emperor, was filled with anger due to the gap in realms. If it weren't for the surrender of the previous participants, I would have won the competition long ago. I would have reached the true human realm and crushed Lu Bing. And while at it, I would have forcefully defeated Saint Child Su Qingyang of the same realm. But now, Lin Tian didn't dare to think about these things at all. Just the last opponent, Lu Bing, who crossed over 1.5 realms, perfectly crushed him. Even if he tries his best, it's difficult to bring him down. And his soul feels like it's being burned dry. Keep fighting. Lin Tian feels like he's going to lose. Lin Tian is starting to panic. He has put in so much effort, he can't afford to not be in first place. Those resources are a must for him. And Lu Bing is also filled with surprise. They say Lin Tian is behind the scenes, but clearly he's not. This kid has exceptional combat talent and unique techniques. He keeps erupting with strength and his combat awareness is terrifying. If it weren't for my perfect dominance in realm, he would be able to avoid my fatal attacks. I dare not continue thinking about it. Lu Bing doesn't dare to continue thinking. He unexpectedly absurdly has the same thoughts as his younger brothers. Because the Lu family is made up of men who know themselves. They won't easily take risks, and fighting shouldn't be a matter of life and death. Just as Lu Bing struggles in his heart, contemplating surrendering, a voice resounds throughout the arena. I am the Yin-Yang Saint Child, the judge for this year's Holy Land Grand Competition. I have observed this battle, which has lasted for 2 hours and 3 minutes. Continuing to fight would be meaningless. Both of you have extraordinary momentum and aptitude, so I have made a decision. Because everyone already knew that Saint Child Su Qingyang was one of the judges, almost all eyes turned to him. Including Lin Tian, who sees Su Qingyang at this moment. The stepping stone from his previous life. He looks dazed. Why is Su Qingyang's status and demeanor so high now? Completely different from the wasteful Su Qingyang in his previous life, who only wasted resources for women. Why do I not feel any disgust from this stepping stone? And what does that look in your eyes mean? Are you coming too? That's right, during the second surrender, Su Qingyang saw the look in the disciples' eyes when they looked at him, and he already realized it. It turns out that they completely implemented his will of unity and friendship. So Su Qingyang also learned to look at Lin Tian with eyes full of care and concern. This saint child intends to establish 2 first places. Just so happens that the 2 disciples have outstanding talents and it's difficult to separate them in battle. Therefore, the saint child personally provides resources and establishes an honorary first place. When Su Qingyang spoke, everyone in the Holy Land, except for the higher-ups, whispered to each other, obviously not accustomed to this new information, but they would soon be shocked. After all, the rewards even made Wu Qingran's heart beat faster. Only Lin Tian had a sense of unease in his heart. He increasingly felt that there was an invisible hand enveloping him, but he couldn't find where it came from. The entire Holy Land seemed strange. They were being too good to him. But Lin Tian didn't need care at all. What he wanted was fame, battle, provocation, and everything else, not the crumbs of kindness. Lu Bing, disciple, is here. Congratulations on achieving first place in this year's Holy Land competition. All the resources are given to you as a gift. Are you satisfied? Thank you very much, Saint Child, for your grace. I have no other intentions. Good. Su Qingyang directly handed a storage ring to Lu Bing, containing everything Lin Tian wanted, including the soul lamp he needed to save his mother. Lin Tian's eyes were filled with anger. At this moment, Su Qingyang turned his gaze slowly towards Lin Tian. Lin Tian, quote exclamation mark quote. Lin Tian didn't say anything, but the discomfort and pain on his face clearly expressed his anger towards Su Qingyang. Lin Tian, as the saint child, I have observed that you are even younger and possess a multitude of unique and extraordinary cultivation techniques. Your talent surpasses that of Lu Bing and others. Therefore, I hereby reward you. I, as the saint child, believe that your aptitude is exceptional. Furthermore, I recently had a dream from our ancestor, who bestowed upon me a treasure. It is a copy of the insights into the cultivation techniques of the Yin-Yang Saint, the founder of our sacred land. I hereby bestow this upon you and declare you as the first place winner of this year's sacred land competition. How about it? As soon as Su Qingyang finished speaking, the entire sacred land erupted. Lin Tian's luck is so good. He actually obtained the cultivation insights of the founder of our sacred land. I'm truly envious. Yes, Lin Tian's fortune is truly incredible. If I had this copy of insights, although I may not be able to reach the level of a saint, I feel like I could also cultivate to become a supreme. Amazing. I'm really envious of Lin Tian. What virtues and abilities does this child possess? A mere dark horse like him is also worthy of such a treasure. That's right. Lin Tian is nothing more than a disgrace to our sacred land, relying on tricks to rise up. He is not worthy. Everyone, don't say that. Lin Tian is a junior brother who has been practicing alone since childhood. He is extremely diligent. We, as senior brothers, couldn't bear to see him struggle in his cultivation, so we decided to reward him. I hope Lin Tian can find happiness. Quote. Lin Tian clenched his teeth, bloodshot eyes appearing, and tightly clenched his fists. Countless people mocked him, even saying that he was unworthy of these cultivation insights. Does Lin Tian want them? He doesn't. This laborious great emperor reincarnation possesses a grand emperor grade cultivation technique. What use is a saint cultivation technique to me? A bunch of trash with brains filled with small hamburgers. And that useless saint child. Give back the resources you gave me. I still need to save my mother, Qin Shui. Lin Tian's expression was as if he wanted to confront them right then and there. But he couldn't do anything. With his heart tightly clenched, he felt anger, frustration, and depression. Various thoughts and considerations passed through his mind. Coupled with the excitement of wanting to fight for the past few days, he always ended up with disappointment and other things. He always fell short of his goals. Lin Tian was already on the verge of going crazy. The suppressed emotions completely erupted at this moment. With a thud, Lin Tian collapsed unconscious. This shows that even he, the great emperor, the long-awaited intense battle did not come. He still had to bear the grievances between various dark secrets and concerns. Coupled with constant pressure, every battle unleashed his potential, challenging realms beyond his own. Lin Tian could no longer withstand the anger and frustration in his heart. Spitting out a mouthful of blood, he fainted, not blaming his own weakness. You have to see what the onlookers are saying. Ah, Lin Tian is too excited. He fainted from the excitement of receiving the ancestral master's insights bestowed by Saint Child. Ah, that's right. I didn't expect Lin Tian's mental resilience to be so poor. It seems that the spirit of unity and friendship in our Holy Land has not reached Lin Tian's heart. Hey, Lin Tian Jr. brother is really careless. It's just a reward, the honor of being first place. Is it necessary to be so excited? PFF'd. Lin Tian's eyes went black, and he couldn't remember anything. He only felt a great sense of injustice. What a ghostly encounter. The king arrived at the Bronze Bureau, feeling pitifully betrayed by his 4 teammates. Angry enough to want to cry out loud. When Lin Tian woke up, he found a manual of martial arts insights already tucked in his arms, precisely the yin-yang holy art handwritten by Su Qingyang. Even Wu Qingran was attracted over. Wu Qingran looked somewhat surprised. Unexpectedly her senior brother had such a precious treasure, making her unable to resist wanting it. Lin Tian, congratulations. With the insights on cultivating the yin-yang holy art, as long as you continue to cultivate in this way, becoming a supreme is definitely possible. You might even become a saint. Wu Qingran's eyes were filled with envy. As soon as Lin Tian regained his senses and saw Wu Qingran praising him, his anger surged once again. What the hell, even you? But Lin Tian could only suppress his anger. He had already coughed up blood, and it would be meaningless to do so again. The main thing is, he also understands that even if it was his past self, getting this handwritten copy would surely be exciting. But he doesn't need it now. He doesn't need it at all. To abandon the great emperor's cultivation method and practice the saint's cultivation method instead, isn't that idiotic? Lin Tian is utterly frustrated to the point of spitting blood. So while others envy, he can only feel aggrieved. And, the most important thing is that the number one resource he wanted is gone. There was something extremely important inside. It's the 15-day return core lamp used to treat his mother. It is an extremely powerful soul treasure that specifically enhances one's spiritual power and can also heal spiritual problems. Just when Lin Tian was feeling troubled, a voice sounded in his mind. Wu Lao, how do you feel, kid? Now you also have insights into the saint-grade cultivation method. I envy you. When I was as young as you, I could only cultivate some lousy cultivation method that I don't even know where it came from. You're so lucky. Quote. How about it, do you want to consider becoming my disciple? That way, you can also inherit my heavenly fire, cultivation method, and treasures. The soul of Wu Lao in the ring tempted Lin Tian in his mind, but Lin Tian only felt annoyed. Fortunately, after these few days of training, he had developed some immunity. Is that all? Otherwise, how about I teach you how to pursue that saintess Wu Qingran? Is that all? Lin Tian's inner voice raised a bit. How much more do you want? Kid, you're too greedy. The voice of Wu Lao in the ring sounded indignant. As a saint, he had tried several times to take Lin Tian as his disciple, but this kid didn't appreciate it and even thought it was too little. Hee. Lin Tian immediately blocked the old man's spiritual consciousness in the ring. Because he possessed it in his previous life, he doesn't need it now at all. He has something better. Moreover, this old man has malicious intentions. He plans to take over his body. If it weren't for the fact that this old man still has some use, and that he would be useful in some treasure secret realms later on, Lin Tian wouldn't keep him at all. Lin Tian felt angry in his heart after the experiences of the past few days. He says, Lin Tian, I'm an orphaned kid. Don't let me find you. Otherwise, I'll stomp your whole family and feed them to the fish. Lin Tian didn't suspect Su Qingyang as the murderer because he felt that Su Qingyang, like those disciples, was probably brainwashed by certain information. The most urgent matter is to find out who is spreading the rumors. And looking at Wu Qingran's envious expression, without even lifting his head, Lin Tian threw Su Qingyang's grandfather's cultivation experience over. You want it, right? I'll give it to you. With a wave of his hand, Lin Tian directly treated that rewarded cultivation experience as garbage and threw it away. To him, this thing really had no use at all. He should consider how to improve his own realm and then save his mother. I never expected that I, the reincarnation of the great emperor of deep affection, would fall flat on my face in this Holy Land competition. I really don't know if the people of the Yin-Yang sacred land have lost their minds. I, Lin Tian, need some hammer-like love. He felt angry, but there was no way. He couldn't even defeat a Land B disciple, let alone challenge the Saint Child. It would probably only make people laugh if he said it out loud. Lin Tian would never do such a shameful thing. It hasn't come to that point yet. Mother, wait for me. Lin Tian clenched his fist. This path unexpectedly encountered such a major change. Now, being the first in the Holy Land is the same as not having it at all. And he felt that his realm was loosening because he had unleashed his potential too many times, causing a great sense of weakness in his body. He needed to find another way to turn things around. Wu Qingran saw Lin Tian make a grand gesture and directly threw the insights of the cultivation technique to herself, her eyes filled with surprise. Lin Tian, this is a treasure that can help you advance as a strong cultivator. Don't you need it? No, I think it's more suitable for Miss Wu. I already have a family inheritance cultivation technique, so I don't need something like this for now. All right, Wu Qingran remained silent. If there were resources she wanted, she certainly wouldn't refuse them. This made her slightly more favorable towards Lin Tian, but only to a certain extent. As for Lin Tian, he felt frustrated and helpless. What could he do? It was better to give it to someone who would find it meaningful. Besides, this woman would eventually become his, so helping her become stronger would also benefit him. Looking at the first place in honor banner on the ground next to him, Lin Tian's eyes darkened. He put it away in his storage ring and went back to Ziyun Peak to cultivate. He wanted to quickly improve his cultivation level and prepare for future opportunities. After all, as a great emperor reborn, he had many means and didn't really need this one opportunity. However, this time, he truly felt disgusted. He also wanted to find out who was targeting him. Who exactly was it that was going against him? Su Qingyang was in a good mood at the moment. Why? Ding. Congratulations to the host for causing the male lead, Lin Tian, to lose first place in the Holy Land competition. The male lead's entering the world plan failed, causing an imbalance in his state of mind. You have plundered 800 points of his luck value. It has automatically converted into villain value. Hehe, this is the most I've ever gained. Su Qingyang was delighted. This was much more than making Qin Shui pregnant. Indeed, attacking the male lead was a good method. However, Su Qingyang understood that this was because Lin Tian, in his previous life, had made a name for himself in the Holy Land competition and soared to new heights. Unless it was a major event, the system wouldn't reward too much. For now, Su Qingyang didn't need anything, so she didn't click on the lottery or exchange for any items. She would only use something if it was meaningful. Moreover, Su Qingyang did not underestimate the terror of the male lead, Lin Tian, because of this. If one thinks that with just a small blow and care, Lin Tian can be turned away from the path of God and not go on a killing spree. Su Qingyang is not that naive. As the son of a plane, Lin Tian's luck is estimated to be the best in the profound heaven continent, equivalent to the luck of a top prosperous country sect. It won't be so easy to defeat him. Moreover, as a great emperor reborn, if there were no deviations, Lin Tian would not have fallen into this trap. Su Qingyang only caught him off guard. Lin Tian has too many ways to rise. It is estimated that someone who can find treasures just by stepping on dog poop. And Lin Tian is likely to become more cautious, making it difficult to deal with him next time. After the end of the Holy Land competition, many people were still unsatisfied, reminiscing about the glory and watching experience of the competition, but only thinking about that young man named Lin Tian. They felt that there were hidden secrets. A true conversion mid-stage cultivator can obtain the first prize of honor. He even received the treasure of the patriarch's insights bestowed by the saint child, making them envious and jealous. Back at the Yin-Yang Palace, Qin Shui had been waiting there for a long time because her pregnancy was getting bigger and it was not suitable for her to sit for a long time, so she did not go to watch the Holy Land competition. Even if she wanted to go, Su Qingyang would not allow it. Now, seeing Lin Tian in her current state, Lin Tian would probably go crazy on the spot or wait for an opportunity to explode and kill himself. After all, he is a great emperor reborn. Can he not find a way? With the strength of that old man with the ring, he can unleash a power no less than that of the opening heaven-earth shaker realm, far beyond what Su Qingyang can bear. Su Qingyang would not take this risk. Shui, the competition is once a year, and besides, you are pregnant and it is not suitable for you to sit for a long time. After you give birth to our child this time, I will accompany you no matter how much you want to watch. Is that so, husband? You are so good to me. That's the reason. The next 3 months passed. During this time, Su Qingyang also became busy, spending half of his time cultivating and the other half accompanying Qin Shui, preparing for the birth of their child. After all, it's almost time to give birth. Qin Shui is increasingly at a loss. Fortunately, Su Qingyang is always there to support her, and the midwife is ready at any time. He is always following behind Qin Shui, even when she sleeps, he waits in the next room. After all, this is the child of the saint child, and everyone is very nervous. Who is Su Qingyang? He is an 18-year-old spirit wheel realm cultivator. He can be called the strongest genius in the Holy Land in the past 100 years. How terrifying is the talent of his child. ... Wow! One night, a cry echoed through the Yin-Yang Palace. The servants and midwives were busy with various tasks and taking care of things. In short, everyone was on high alert, and finally, they heard this loud cry. Master! Master! The baby is born! It's a boy! The midwife's voice was filled with joy and spread outside the room. Su Qingyang was also happy. That's great. When he finally could enter, Su Qingyang glanced at the newborn baby, then turned and tightly held Qin Shui's hand. Qin Shui's face was covered in sweat, clearly experiencing both pain and happiness. This kind of thing is a challenging task for every woman. The pain and process involved make people both fearful and expectant. If there is a beloved person, there will naturally be an impulse to have children. Shui, how are you? Su Qingyang's face was full of concern, and he genuinely cared. Regardless of his motives, Qin Shui has already become a part of him, and now he only lacks the title of wife. Setting aside dealing with the male lead, the more villainous, the more righteous and affectionate they are. Those who ultimately go down the wrong path are everywhere. Most of them are for the sake of repaying various emotional debts. Su Qingyang is no exception. He is useful to himself and even bears his child. Their bond is deep and harmonious. Husband, I'm fine. How is the child? Sigh, the child is doing well. Let's use the name we decided on before. But Snow, you are the most important to me. As long as you're okay, I'm happy. Qin Shui was coaxed by Su Qingyang and had a sweet expression on her face, feeling like the happiest woman in the world. She never thought that her life would have such blessings at this age. Moreover, he can cultivate now. After a year of training by Su Qingyang, coupled with their weekends off, Qin Shui's physique has improved, and she now has the cultivation level of the early stage of true conversion. In the future, her cultivation will continue to rise, and living for thousands of years will be a piece of cake. Since it's a boy, let's stick to the agreed name, Su Bai. Husband, you're so good, I'll listen to you. Qin Shui is not a young girl, but a young married woman who understands tenderness and softness the most. Her eyes are filled with affection as she looks at Su Qingyang. Because of the pregnancy, they haven't been intimate for almost half a year. She's feeling a bit restless. Su Qingyang is really good to her, providing good food and drink, afraid that she might be lacking in any way. But Qin Shui has lived a difficult life since she was young and doesn't need so many good things. Having a happy family is already the greatest fortune. Su Qingyang has fulfilled her greatest wish. System prompt. Progress in capturing Qin Shui, the male lead's mother, has increased. System prompt. The progress of Qin Shui's strategy has advanced from good pregnancy to fortunate arrival of a child. Congratulations to the host for successfully turning the antagonist, Qin Shui, the mother of the male lead, and giving birth to an heir, plundering 1200 points of luck from the male lead, Lin Tian. The antagonist value has been automatically converted. Quote exclamation mark. Quote. Su Qingyang was shocked. He knew there would be consequences, but he didn't expect to plunder so much luck. It was like making Lin Tian bleed heavily. At this moment, on Ziyun Peak, Lin Tian was brushing his teeth, rinsing his mouth. Due to the intense competition earlier, he needed to take care of his body in order to continue his daily cultivation. Otherwise, it would leave hidden dangers for the future. As Lin Tian opened his eyes, they widened and he suddenly started coughing, swallowing most of the phlegm. Cough, cough. His face turned red, and after a while, Lin Tian felt better, but his heart felt a little uncomfortable. Has something happened recently? Why do I feel so anxious? Something bad must have happened. As a great emperor who had been reborn, Lin Tian naturally had a keen awareness. Moreover, Qin Shui was his mother, so he would definitely sense something, although it was just a slight discomfort. The main issue was that the system ruthlessly plundered Lin Tian's luck twice, totaling 2,000 points, causing him to cough and feel uncomfortable for a while. It was as if he had encountered a streak of bad luck. Fortunately, he returned to normal after a short while, but Lin Tian also felt like he had lost something. Unable to figure it out after thinking for a while, he decided to continue his cultivation. Outside the Yin-Yang Palace, 3 important figures arrived. They all exuded an immortal aura and had extraordinary appearances. The leader is a young man with a superior appearance, while the 2 behind him are old Taoists, one fat and one thin. The thin old Taoist holds a spiritual treasure pagoda in his left hand, with his cultivator robe revealing his muscular arms. Although he looks like a skinny dog, his gaze is fierce and powerful, filled with a sense of strength. There is also a hint of hostility between his eyebrows, indicating that he is a very combative person. On the other hand, the fat old Taoist has a wide and fat body, exposing a big belly. He resembles the true human from Su Qingyang's previous life's movies, with long white beard and holding a whisk. His eyes are kind and gentle, giving off no sense of conflict. He looks like a carefree fat Taoist in the mortal world. The thin one is Gao Huan, the Grand Elder of the Sacred Land, and the fat one is Lu Qian, the Second Elder of the Sacred Land. The person leading them is the current owner of Yin-Yang Sacred Land. He is the Yin-Yang Sacred Lord. The Yin-Yang Sacred Lord is a middle-aged man with a mature appearance. He doesn't have any peculiarities and dresses in a conventional manner. He doesn't hold any spiritual treasures or magical artifacts. They came here today because Su Qingyang called them. Previously, Su Qingyang only pretended to have a conflict with the Sacred Lord in front of Qin Shui. There was no real conflict between them. In addition, Su Qingyang's talent and cultivation realm have greatly improved. At the age of 18, he has reached the spirit wheel realm, becoming a renowned figure in the Sacred Land. His status has far surpassed his previous identity as the disgraceful saint child of the Sacred Land. He is now the genius that the Sacred Land takes pride in. The second elder waved his sleeve and took out a token. At first, the attendants didn't recognize it because of their high status, but when they saw that it was the Sacred Lord's token, their expressions turned shocked, and they quickly paid their respects. Greetings, Sacred Lord, Grand Elder, Second Elder. We are aware of the matter regarding the Saint Child. We have come to congratulate him on coming of age and have brought gifts. The Second Elder's voice was gentle and affectionate, making people feel as if they were bathed in a warm spring breeze. It should be because he had cultivated some kind of technique. Please wait a moment, Sacred Lord. Saint Child will be here soon. After all, he is one of the highest-ranking individuals in the Sacred Land. The usual etiquette is extremely heavy. If Su Qingyang doesn't come out, they won't enter on their own, even though they are here to deliver gifts. After all, they are elders. Su Qingyang hurriedly stopped his cultivation and came to the entrance of the main hall to invite the 3 people inside. After they sat down, Su Qingyang asked the maids to pour tea, and then the conversation began. Uncle, Grand Elder, Second Elder, please have some tea. This is Qin Shui. Now, she and Xiaoyang are already married and have given birth to a son named Su Bai. The Holy Lord, Su Chengwu, glanced at Qin Shui, whose face was somewhat nervous but calm. Qin Shui felt flustered in her heart. After all, she was a bit older and had just started her cultivation. Although she had exceptional beauty, there was still a big gap between her and Su Qingyang. Currently, she was only at the early stage of the true conversion realm. To be honest, it was already quite remarkable to achieve such a level in just half a year of cultivation. Coupled with her physique and spiritual roots, she was an elite figure. However, the Holy Lord and the elders were unaware of this. Su Chengwu released a faint aura, overwhelming like the Tian Shan Mountains. Seeing this, Su Qingyang wanted to make a move but restrained himself. Because he knew this was a test. Just like in novels, when the male protagonist, who is poor and destitute, wants to marry into a prestigious family, or when he wants to marry a wealthy wife, he will go through such tests. One is to establish his own prestige and make outsiders understand their place. The other is to test the other party's abilities, such as their character, attitude, and aura. As long as a strong person appears, it is easy to see. In addition to the secluded Supreme Elder and the Yin-Yang Saint, who is the founder of the Ascension Immortal Realm, the strongest person in the entire Holy Land is the current Holy Lord, Su Chengwu. Only to see his aura overwhelming. Qin Shui felt a powerful pressure released onto herself, making her whole body feel stiff, unable to move, and even faintly making her want to bend down. Lower her head. Although Qin Shui had a gentle personality, she was strong-willed and resolute. Naturally, she would not give up. Su Qingyang had taught her before, so she was sure there would be such a test. Qin Shui thought about the hardships she had endured for the past 36 years, all for the sake of this moment of happiness. If you can't handle it, it will also make the husband lose face. Although family members won't say anything, after all, their status will be lowered. Qin Shui saw Su Qingyang's cultivation technique given to her, and a powerful spiritual energy gathered together. She forcefully lifted her head and looked directly at the Yin and Yang Holy Lord, Su Chengwu, with a gaze that refused to back down. 1 second, 3 seconds, 10 seconds. Everyone present held their breath, and the attendants lowered their heads, pretending to know nothing. After 20 seconds, Su Chengwu smiled. Then he withdrew his momentum, smiling happily. Xiaoyang, where did you find such a virtuous wife? Her character is good, and her aptitude is also excellent, but her cultivation level is indeed a bit low. Qin Shui's worries did not materialize. In fact, she forgot one thing, that is, cultivators often live for thousands or even tens of thousands of years, so why would they care about a mere 10-year age difference? Hehe, I'm just joking. This girl has excellent aptitude, possesses a spiritual root, and later discovered that she has a compatible physique, which is very helpful for cultivation. Xiaoyang's wish has also come true. And Xiaoyang didn't know at first, he just valued Shui as a servant, and only after developing feelings did he lead her onto the path of cultivation. Su Qingyang spoke concisely and clearly, and with just a few sentences, Su Chengwu understood the cause and effect. However, he pondered for a moment. What about Xiaowu? Su Qingyang's gaze condensed, and after a slight pause, he replied. To be honest with Uncle, Xiaoyang doesn't know when it started, but one night he suddenly realized that Qingran Jr.'s sister's thoughts were not on him, so Xiaoyang no longer forced this kind of affection. After meeting Shui, he resolved his inner conflict and reached a higher state of mind, and his cultivation level has reached this realm. Su Qingyang's words were flawless, leaving no room for doubt. It seemed as if everything was natural, including Qin Shui, who also felt that ever since being with the Saint Child, they have both been living happily. Both of them have ascended in their cultivation levels. Qin Shui was a little moved after listening. She increasingly felt that Saint Child Su Qingyang truly loved her after meeting her, which was why he was able to resolve his inner conflicts and improve his cultivation level so quickly. This made Qin Shui even more determined to always stand by Su Qingyang's side. Meanwhile, Su Qingyang had a smile on his face. Su Chengwu put away his imposing image of a powerful saint and softened his gaze as he looked at the child in Qin Shui's arms. Come, let Grandpa take a look. Su Chengwu was very happy. Coupled with what Su Qingyang had said, Qin Shui had good talent, just a late start in cultivation, so her talent was probably not bad. And now that he had become a grandfather, who wouldn't be happy? After all, in their lineage, there was only one Su Qingyang. If Su Qingyang didn't have children, their lineage would come to an end. Qin Shui did not refuse and handed the baby, Su Bai, to Su Chengwu. Uncle, take a look. At this moment, Su Chengwu did not have the majesty of a saint, nor the imposing aura of a sect leader. All he had was the joy of a middle-aged man who had a child in his old age. Ha ha ha, let me see the child's aptitude. Little Yang's immortal Tao sacred body, little Shui's heavenly spirit root, and a special physique. I estimate that his talent is no less than that of a direct disciple. Laughing happily, Su Chengwu then unleashed his spiritual power and probed into the baby's body. In an instant, his eyes widened. What the? Su Qingyang secretly chuckled on the side. He already knew about the physique, after all, the system had mentioned it. Besides the dual cultivation, Qin Shui's physique had an additional bonus that made the children born to her more outstanding. It could be said that they perfectly inherited the strengths of Su Qingyang and Qin Shui. Their talent was probably no less than that of the male lead, Lin Tian. Unfortunately, they lacked the protagonist's halo. However, Su Qingyang didn't think it was a big problem. When Lin Tian dies, I wonder if this protagonist's halo will descend upon my son, Su Bai. Su Qingyang couldn't help but exclaim. As a saint, he naturally had extraordinary talent and formidable strength. Yet, he couldn't detect what kind of aptitude his grandnephew possessed. Experiencing the chaos of the past greatly shocked him. If he can't feel it, it's impossible for him to be weak. There is only one possibility. His innate constitution is too strong. It has been concealed by the heavenly mechanism. Su Chengwu was shocked and stunned, while Qin Shui was puzzled. What's wrong, uncle? Shui, nothing's wrong. Uncle is probably surprised by Su Bai's talent. By the way, uncle asked the elder and the second elder to hold him. After all, in the entire Holy Land, besides the Supreme Elder, the second elder was the one who held Su Qingyang when he was a child. He was like a grandfather to him. After a long time, Su Chengwu sighed and lost his focus. Never mind, Xiaoyang, do you know what kind of constitution he has? Tell uncle quickly. After a long time, the second elder's eyes widened as well. Obviously, he couldn't sense anything and everything was chaotic. Qin Shui was puzzled, the servants were focused, and the three relatives were amazed by the power of the baby Su Bai. Only Su Qingyang remained calm, apparently knowing something. So they all looked at Su Qingyang. After all, for cultivators, besides family, talent is the most important thing. Because talent determines whether one can make a name for themselves in the profound heaven continent in the future, whether they can find a way to success. Uncle, elder, second elder, to be honest, on the night when Xiaobai was born, our ancestor appeared in a dream and told Xiaoyang about his talent. What is it? The elder was a bit impatient and combative, and no one understood the importance of talent in cultivation better than him. Plus, he had watched Su Qingyang grow up since he was a child. They all knew how high Su Qingyang's talent was, and now the child Su Qingyang gave birth to shocked them even more. Chaos spirit. Su Qingyang spoke word by word, with a slow and steady pace, his gaze gradually becoming serious. What? 3 consecutive shouts echoed throughout the entire hall. And at this moment, because Su Qingyang uttered these 4 words, a muffled thunder exploded directly in the sky above the Holy Land, spreading throughout the 9 heavens. Boom! Clouds slowly gathered, as if there was going to be a heavenly thunder tribulation. Meanwhile, Su Chengwu, the elder uncle, narrowed his eyes, his expression turning cold, and waved his hand. In an instant, a formation appeared in the sky above the Holy Land. Shielding the heavenly mechanism, it eliminated the glimpse that the heavenly path had just sent. Obviously, if not stopped, the heavenly path would bring divine punishment later. It's actually that ancient vanished chaos spirit. It is said to be able to devour the spiritual energy of all things and refine it into chaos spiritual energy, with the quality of spiritual energy surpassing all postnatal spiritual energy in the world. Only those with extremely strong spiritual energy can resist it. Su Chengwu exclaimed, clearly shocked. Something that could only be seen in ancient times. Actually appearing now. Just because of Su Qingyang and a child born to a servant, he looked left and right, looking at Su Qingyang and then at Qin Shui. I don't understand, really don't understand. Even someone as strong as him, above a saint, didn't understand how this could be done. Unfortunately, Su Qingyang wouldn't tell him. Being the child of the male protagonist and the mother, even if weak, is still a small protagonist. Moreover, with the addition of this major antagonist, he has almost caught up to the male lead. Uncle, Xiaobai has just come out and is already able to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth on his own. By the time he is 2 years old, he will need to find a master to personally teach him. Su Qingyang intentionally or unintentionally guided, while Su Chengwu reacted and spoke without hesitation. Of course, let me personally teach him. After all, my cultivation has been progressing slowly, so I can teach him when I have nothing else to do. Husband, isn't this too fast? Xiaobai will start practicing at the age of 2. Haha, Shui, what are you worried about? You can go watch Xiaobai practice when you have nothing else to do. Su Qingyang rubbed Qin Shui's head, looking doting. Well, okay. Qin Shui felt a little disappointed, but she didn't think too much about it. She knew very well that only strong cultivation could guarantee survival. She had lived a hard and difficult life for so many years, and if she had the talent for cultivation, she definitely wouldn't have lived so miserably. Such a stunning beauty serving under Su Qingyang's command. Moreover, Qin Shui thought about Lin Tian, the man who had been left behind since childhood, and felt regretful. She almost thought she was going to repeat the same mistake, but fortunately, Su Qingyang cared about his feelings, which moved her deeply. This is the 7 Suns connected heart lock. It can activate 7 layers of attribute protection, each with different effects. Moreover, the connected heart locks can sense each other's positions. I'm giving it to Xiaoshui and her nephew as a gift. Su Chengwu waved his hand, and a radiant object, adorned with a robe of precious light, flew out. The child lock covered the neck of the baby Su Bai, like a large golden chain with a connected heart lock, giving off a grand aura. It was clearly something only wealthy families would possess. The mother lock flew into Qin Shui's hand and transformed into a gold and silver bracelet after she refined it. It was exceptionally beautiful, making Qin Shui's already impressive identity even more alluring, like a wealthy and stunning beauty. The elder Gao Huan presented a weapon, a round folding fan, engraved with landscapes, birds, and fish, which was very beautiful and colorful. It made Qin Shui's elegant appearance even more beautiful and noble when she held it. Xiaoshui, the elder Gao Huan doesn't have much else, but he has many offensive spiritual treasures. This one is perfect for you. It can be used for both offense and defense. Summon strange birds and beasts to assist you in suppressing the enemy. Xiaoshui, I wish you and Xiaoyang 100 years of happiness. This 9 transformation phoenix purple robe can be used for both defense and flight. Your cultivation level is currently insufficient, but it can allow you to travel through the air. It can also store spiritual power for defense. The second elder waved his hand, and a robe with a mix of red and purple, adorned with phoenix and divine birds, enveloped Qin Shui. She looked like a noble concubine from the mortal world, exuding a strong sense of nobility from the robe, complementing Qin Shui's outstanding figure. She appeared more magnificent and beautiful than ordinary cultivators. Su Qingyang was stunned for a moment. In the past, he had never dressed Qin Shui in beautiful clothes for her time travel, but those things were ultimately worldly possessions. Now, wearing a true treasure, Qin Shui's true nature was revealed. Shui, you look so beautiful. Su Qingyang couldn't help but praise. Qin Shui gave Su Qingyang a disdainful look. Husband, stop being so cheeky. Uncle and the elders are all here. Ha ha ha, it's all right. Who didn't have a youthful time? The second elder spoke kindly. For those who had lived for thousands of years like them, love and affection were common in the Holy Land. Afterwards, the second elder also gave some treasures to the baby Su Bai, and then Su Qingyang began to speak. Uncle, elder, second elder, I want to decide on the date of our wedding with Shui. Well, indeed, since you are already husband and wife and have little Bai, we should discuss the date of the grand wedding. And it will be Xiaoyang's first marriage, so it must be grand. I will invite some powerful friends from other holy lands to come and celebrate. Yes, yes, Su Qingyang nodded in agreement, but the next decision caused a conflict. According to the rules of our Su family, outstanding cultivators like us do not take a legal wife, but a concubine first. The legal wife is chosen later. Su Chengwu spoke, and Su Qingyang frowned, looking at Qin Shui, who seemed lost in thought. No, Shui and I truly love each other. The first marriage must be as husband and wife. Su Qingyang's determined and vigorous appearance made Qin Shui, the legitimate wife, feel threatened. However, Su Chengwu also furrowed his brows and decisively refused. Although it was a good thing, ancestral rules could not be broken. No, this matter will be discussed later. Even if it's for a wife, I, Su Chengwu, will be the first to disagree. Su Qingyang pretended to furrow his brows, but he knew very well, including the personalities of his own elders. Even the second elder did not speak, obviously standing on Su Chengwu's side. Moreover, without the support of the elders, getting married or not was the same, as no one would recognize it. Afterwards, the two started arguing. Uncle, it's me who's getting married, not you. Why are you more anxious than me? Su Qingyang was good at arguing, while Su Chengwu took a deep breath, clearly getting angry. Little Yang dared to argue with him, but after all, he was a junior. No, this matter has been discussed with the eldest elder and the second elder. Even if it's approved, we must follow the ancestral rules and first take a concubine. Besides, who knows if you will marry again in the future. The legitimate wife is chosen from the concubines, not directly married. After arguing for a while, Su Qingyang was outnumbered. The eldest elder occasionally shouted a few words, while the second elder tried to mediate, but his attitude was also firmly on the side of taking a concubine. Little Yang, do you know why there is a rule of taking a concubine before marrying a wife? There are regulations in the Su family. A virtuous wife and good mother, following the 3 obediences and 4 virtues. The legitimate wife is chosen from the concubines who can take charge. Right now, you only have one, Qin Shui. But do you know, in the future, when you are hundreds or thousands of years old, will you not be tempted to marry other concubines? Seeing that the argument was going nowhere and there was no need to resort to violence, Su Chengwu patiently explained. Su Qingyang was stubborn and refused to listen, shaking his head as if he didn't care, showing a deep concern and love for Qin Shui. Since you don't agree, let's discuss this matter later. Su Chengwu took a deep breath, clearly getting annoyed, thinking that this kid was infatuated with love. As he was about to leave with a wave of his sleeve, Qin Shui moved and tugged at Su Qingyang's sleeve, signaling him not to speak. What uncle said makes sense. Although I truly love my husband, cultivators often have long lives and don't age for many years. By then, even if my husband wants to love others, with his talent and charm, it's impossible for there to be only one person like Qin Shui. This concubine's words are correct. By then, when my husband reaches the peak and becomes an earth shaker opening heaven, Supreme Saint, the person who can stay by his side and assist him will be someone with great strength and outstanding character. Qin Shui acknowledges that her current abilities and talent are far from sufficient. Qin Shui will be the concubine. Qin Shui spoke decisively, leaving no room for Su Qingyang to continue speaking. After suffering for so many years, she was already content with her current status and happy life. Being able to marry a powerful saint child from a prestigious sect, genuinely love each other, have a fulfilling life, and continue to cultivate and improve herself, what more could she want? Even the 3 relatives, uncle and the 2 elders, were moved by Qin Shui's powerful aura and presence. They couldn't imagine that a mere true conversion initial stage female cultivator would have such far-sightedness and insight. It inevitably made the 3 of them regard her highly. This tradition is actually followed by many powerful cultivator families. Because almost all powerful cultivators, even female cultivators, have multiple wives or concubines. Only the one with the best aptitude and conduct should truly be established. Qin Shui's understanding and voluntary acceptance of this point clearly touched them. After all, most women don't have such broad-mindedness and ambition. Shui, Su Qingyang's expression was somewhat inexplicable, as if he wanted to dissuade her, but he was rejected by Qin Shui, who looked at him with a gentle expression. Husband, you don't always have to stand up for Shui. Shui will understand what she should understand. Some things need rules, as the saying goes, without rules, there is no order. Moreover, if you have a more capable wife in the future, Shui will step back and silently support you. And besides, it's just a title. What Shui truly cares about is only you, husband. These days, Shui has been living a very happy life. When Qin Shui spoke, there was a hint of struggle in her eyes, obviously worried that Su Qingyang might prefer another woman. However, she was willing to accept it. She was content with her current life and knew that being greedy would not lead to a good outcome. Su Qingyang looked deeply moved, and Qin Shui was also deeply moved by Su Qingyang's continuous support. Of course, she wanted the status of a legal wife, but what the Holy Lord Su Chengwu said made sense, and she took it to heart. She wasn't naive enough to think that Su Qingyang would only love her for the rest of his life. As for Su Qingyang's thoughts, not bad, just as I expected. I knew there would be a concubine, and Qin Shui would refuse. Let's leave it at that for now. In fact, Su Qingyang knew the personalities of the people involved and had a clear understanding of the outcome. Besides, the distinction between a legal wife and a concubine was not that significant. In his previous life, he had heard a classic saying, "What does it matter if there's a concubine? The main wife is still Waiju." But Su Qingyang would definitely not do that. He never forgot his true goal. In any case, he wanted Qin Shui to firmly stand by his side forever. And as for Lin Tian, everything related to her should belong to Su Qingyang. Su Qingyang intentionally stood up for Qin Shui like this. It was to move her, to deepen her attachment to him. Good, good, Xiao Shui, I'm not trying to make things difficult for you. It's just that over time, you will naturally understand. If Xiaoyang meets a better woman in the future and you are the legal wife with a concubine, the pressure on you will be greater than you can imagine. Although being a concubine is not good for you now, you will understand the hardships I've gone through. Also, I wish you two a harmonious union for 200 years. Let's set the date for the end of next year. At that time, I will have the entire Holy Land and millions of human cultivators from all around come to congratulate you. This wedding will definitely be grand and satisfying for you. Su Chengwu was full of confidence, and the second elder also congratulated them on their 100-year union. After chatting for a while, they all left. After Su Qingyang and Qin Shui left, they exchanged affectionate gestures before going to cultivate. While cultivating, Su Qingyang suddenly remembered that he had recently obtained a lot of things, so he decided to organize them. Then, he saw something strange, which was obtained from a system lottery. Of course, it wasn't the underwear of the holy maiden Wu Qinbran. Instead, it was Elder Zi Yun's secret. When Su Qingyang looked down, he saw that there were many words written on it. This surprised Su Qingyang. It turned out that the aloof Elder Zi Yun was actually a reserved woman. "Hey, I recently took on a disciple, but I hate men. Ah, so annoying. Only serious people write diaries, so all right. Ziyun.jpg turtle.jpg. Su Qingyang found it amusing. He had heard that Ziyun was a mature and domineering woman, but he didn't expect her to have such hobbies in private. In his past life, he didn't describe the characters in the book in such detail. The characters here were too real, with their own personalities and hobbies. This elder Ziyun even liked drawing various chibi avatars and turtles in her diary. Smiling, Su Qingyang continued reading. So lazy. I don't feel like refining pills today. What should I do? Waiting online, urgent. The next day, I don't feel like studying formations today. So annoying. Hey, what's wrong with this disciple? Why did he start trying to please me? Unfortunately, I forgot to tell him that I hate men. It's strange why I took Lin Tian as my disciple. Sticking out my tongue. Lin Tian, the little brother, is here again. I'm starting to hate men more and more. Annoying. Su Qingyang recalled, what's going on? How did Lin Tian get close to Master Ziyun so quickly? Isn't this a mid-story plot? Did it unfold so quickly? It wasn't written like this in the book. It seems that Su Qingyang felt that the butterfly effect was getting stronger and he needed to be more cautious. System prompt. Ziyun is a woman who loves writing diaries. The diary will be updated in real time, and the host can check it daily. Upon seeing the latest page, it was filled with complaints about cultivation or things related to Lin Tian. Su Qingyang put it aside and prepared to check it later when she had time. 1 year later. Shui, how do you feel? Haha, Xiaobai's development is quite fast, he can already run. It feels like he's about to start talking. Su Qingyang hugged Qin Shui and looked out the window at Su Bai playing at the entrance of the palace. He's almost ready to be sent to uncle's place for cultivation. Shui, if you want to see, you can go and watch Xiaobai's cultivation. Uncle should teach him qi absorption and returning to the origin first. Although he can absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth autonomously, the speed is still too slow. Ah, Qin Shui sighed, obviously reluctant. Su Bai was very well behaved and didn't cause trouble. Even when playing, he wouldn't get himself dirty, just chasing butterflies. As a mother, Qin Shui was naturally very happy. Su Qingyang was also happy. He inherited her stable personality and wouldn't casually cause trouble, so she didn't have to worry at all. 2 days later, the Holy Lord Su Chengwu arrived. Xiaoyang, uncle is here. Where is Xiaobai? Su Chengwu laughed heartily. He would come about once a month, occasionally secluding himself for a few months. But it was obvious that he was very satisfied with his great-nephew and wanted to cultivate him from a young age. Upon seeing Su Chengwu, Su Qingyang naturally ordered the maid to pour tea. Hello, uncle, please have a seat. Xiaobai is playing at the entrance. This time, I feel like Xiaobai can cultivate with you. In a while, he should be able to speak fluently and understand what we're saying. Really, that's great. I've been thinking about it for a long time. Su Chengwu was excited. He treated his grandchildren like his own children, so he had long wanted to bring Xiaobai over to cultivate and see how powerful the legendary ancient chaotic spirit body was. Su Qingyang smiled and nodded. Qin Shui looked reluctant on the side. Don't worry, Shui. Later, your husband will accompany you and uncle to go and see where Xiaobai cultivates. Elder Dar did not come this time because they have to manage the affairs of the Holy Land and focus on cultivation, and so on. When they come again, it should be the day of Su Qingyang's wedding. The three of them chatted for a while, and Su Chengwu directly unfolded a flying boat treasure, carrying several people to the core of the Holy Land, where the Holy Lord resides. In a valley filled with the sounds of birds and the fragrance of flowers. The spiritual energy here is rich, completely different from the palace where Su Qingyang resides. It is like a hermit's place of cultivation, extremely quiet, with nothing else except for the chirping of birds, the dancing of insects, and the gentle and friendly auspicious beasts. After seeing it, Su Qingyang's eyes were full of admiration. Uncle, this is truly a good place to live, cultivating oneself, brewing tea, calming the mind, arranging flowers and playing with jade. Ha ha ha. You're joking, uncle. This is just a humble valley. Besides being spacious and suitable for cultivation, there is nothing special about it. Su Qingyang nodded and looked at the little Su Bai who was following behind without any trace of fear. Little Bai, how do you feel? Is it good for you to cultivate here with grandfather in the future? Quote. Little Bai didn't say anything, and Su Qingyang said again. The kind that can fly. Sometimes it's easy to coax a child. If you say what he wants and can give it to him, he will naturally listen. When Su Bai heard his father Su Qingyang's words, his eyes immediately lit up. Father, is it like flying like a butterfly? Su Qingyang was shocked when he heard this. Goodness, he always thought that Su Bai couldn't speak. So he was just pretending to be a fool and didn't feel like talking. However, Su Bai's voice was tender and extremely pleasant, full of a sense of spirituality. It was different from Su Qingyang's gentleness and Qin Shui's maturity, and had a different temperament. Temperament is often inherent from birth, and can be reflected in talents, cultivation, and speaking style, among other things. And Qin Shui, on the side, was delighted to see Xiaozu Bai speaking. Xiaobai, you've been able to speak all along, haven't you? Why didn't you tell your mother? Ha ha, Su Bai smiled, not saying anything, not knowing who he learned it from. After seeing this, Su Qingyang patted him on the back of his head. Little guy, when your mother talks to you, you should chat with her more. Otherwise, She'll miss you. This time, Xiao Bai didn't stay silent, nodding earnestly, clearly taking Su Qingyang's words to heart. For this, Su Qingyang felt relieved. Afterward, Su Qingyang took Qin Shui for a stroll in the valley. Shui, if you want to come see Xiao Bai in the future, I'll bring you here. Ah, husband, wouldn't that be too much trouble for you? It's fine, it's actually not far, just half an hour by flying. Su Qingyang sighed. This is what it feels like to take care of a child, something he had never experienced in his past life. It's like a kindergarten or a detention center. Fortunately, Xiao Bai is obedient. Otherwise, Su Qingyang wouldn't want to experience the hardships of taking care of a child. But Su Qingyang speculated that it should be due to his physique and talent, so Xiao Bai has been calm and intelligent since birth. Well, uncle, we're leaving. I'll bring Shui to see Xiao Bai in a few days. Xiao Bai, you have to listen to Grandpa's words, okay? You have to practice seriously, and you'll be able to fly in the future. Haha, okay, father, mother, goodbye. Su Qingyang waved his hand and left the Holy Lord Valley with Qin Shui. Chapter 39. When Su Qingyang returned to Yin-Yang Palace with Qin Shui, he didn't waste any time. Throughout the year, he had been constantly paying attention to the elder Zi Yun's secret. Now he was looking at the latest page of content. Throughout this year, Lin Tian has been very sensible. He cooks and makes porridge, and the food he makes is very good. But why do I feel like I'm gradually starting to dislike him? Shouldn't I have developed a good impression of him? Seeing the contents of the diary, Su Qingyang's expression became serious. He knew something big was about to happen. A few days later, the content gradually changed. What's going on? Why has my progress in cultivation suddenly accelerated so much? My cultivation speed is astonishing. This means that the deadline for the once in 10 years event is approaching again. It's really troublesome. I'm starting to hate men. Annoying, 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 annoying. On the peak of Ziyun, in a cave mansion halfway up the mountain. Lin Tian sat cross-legged inside, deep in thought. Throughout the year, he had been working hard to take care of his body. Why? Because during the previous Sacred Ground competition, he had unleashed his potential too many times. Almost every round. If it weren't for the great emperor's rebirth and his knowledge of many ways to change and heal the body, alleviating those consumptions, an ordinary person would have long perished. It's fortunate that he is the male lead, Lin Tian, the unkillable cockroach. However, the failure in the sect competition and the loss of resources prevented him from breaking through to a new realm. Now, after a year of recuperation, he had barely reached the late stage of true conversion from the mid-stage of true conversion. Although the progress was not small. But compared to Su Qingyang, he was still far behind. Lin Tian now had some doubts whether the mastermind behind this was that useless saint child. Claiming to be an orphan, spreading it everywhere. Also promoting unity and friendship. However, Lin Tian's speculation was vague and he couldn't truly confirm the authenticity of the information. But aside from this, he had something even more important. In 3 more years, a heavenly fire will descend upon Zhongzhou, giving birth to a secret realm, a highly ranked heavenly fire. After the integrated union, not only will it greatly enhance one's realm, but it will also elevate one's combat power to a whole new level. At that time, there will be countless talented individuals arrogantly appearing and disappearing in the secret realm. Only those whose cultivation reaches the spirit wheel realm or above can enter the Tianwo secret realm in the central region. And this is just the minimum requirement. The spirit wheel realm is only for cleaning the floor. To obtain treasures like the Tianwo, it is not enough to rely solely on the spirit wheel realm. So Lin Tian needs to reach the spirit wheel realm within these 3 years. In theory, if everything goes smoothly, he can succeed in 3 years. But now, after more than a year, he not only gained nothing in the Yin-Yang sacred land. Instead, he spent a lot of time remedying himself. Due to the outbreak of potential, he wasted a lot of cultivation time on recovery. Ah, I can only use that method. Lin Tian sighed. In his previous life, he certainly had other opportunities in the Yin-Yang sacred land. For example, Wu Qingran was one of them. But now, Wu Qingran is in the sacred land, naturally protected by people at all times. He simply cannot get to her. In his previous life, Wu Qingran had a favorable impression of Lin Tian. It was only when he won the sect competition and defeated Su Qingyang that her eyes sparkled. But now, it's simply impossible. If Lin Tian's cultivation level doesn't improve, there's no chance of catching Wu Qingran's attention. However, Lin Tian naturally has other methods. That is Elder Zi Yun. The reason why Elder Zi Yun can become a master of formations and alchemy is because she cultivated a technique. This technique is called quiet mind, forget emotions. It allows the cultivator to be extremely focused on cultivation, which is beneficial for cultivation. Talent and comprehension greatly increase. That's why Zi Yun became the #1 formation master and alchemist in the Yin-Yang sacred land. However, Lin Tian has memories from his previous life, and he understands. This is all fake. Zi Yun does indeed have a quiet mind and forgets emotions, not engaging in romantic relationships or having a partner. Even because of the cultivation method, she despises men to the extreme. But all of this is just superficial. It's because Zi Yun's cultivation method is incomplete, and the content on the last page has disappeared. As for what it is, that is, the highest realm of tranquility and forgetting emotions is to cultivate the cultivation method to the extreme before having emotions. Only then can this mental technique be perfected. Otherwise, the tranquil heart forgetting emotion technique with flaws will cause an outbreak of illness every 10 years. The illness will make the practitioner extremely disgusted with men in the days leading up to it. They may even want to kill men. But on the day of the complete outbreak, she will fall in love with any man she wakes up to see. So, in order to avoid breaking her cultivation, Zi Yun has been locking herself in an extremely hidden place on that day every year, spending that day without consciousness. Originally, this plot was supposed to happen much later, even after Lin Tian had defeated Wu Qingran. But now it needs to happen earlier. Why? Because Lin Tian desperately needs an increase in strength and realm. Zi Yun's cultivation method has accumulated 10 years of female yin truqi and cultivation. Once it integrates with someone of the opposite gender, it will produce a super strong effect equivalent to dual cultivation. It transfers a portion of her own realm and strength to the other person. As for how much they can withstand, it depends on the other person's talent and physique. Afterwards, Zi Yun will be weak for a period of time, but she will also quickly recover her strength. What does this mean? If Zi Yun is at the mid-stage of the spirit wheel realm, giving half of her strength will instantly allow Lin Tian to break through to the initial stage of the spirit wheel realm. But Lin Tian knows, Zi Yun's realm is far beyond this. Originally, Lin Tian wanted to win the competition first and then obtain Wu Qingran, in order to minimize the butterfly effect of changes. But now everything has changed. He can't wait any longer. He needs to become stronger quickly. Find the person who framed him. And after preparing, plunder the resources, and rush to the time when the heavenly fire was born. So, Zi Yun's 10 years haven't actually passed yet. But Lin Tian will make her martial arts erupt ahead of time. Following the usual practice of this year, Lin Tian left the cultivation cave mansion. He came to the kitchen in the back mountain, made a dish of crayfish, steamed fish, and some light vegetarian dishes. Because of Zi Yun's master's martial arts, she can only eat light and non-spicy food. So Lin Tian cooked according to this recipe. If it were in the past, Lin Tian would not have cooked by himself. Everything is for the plan. Wu Lao, I say, Lin Tian, why are you working so hard? That Zi Yun master of yours, what's so good about her? She's just a big-headed woman, it's better to follow me. Follow me in cultivation. With your talent, Lin Tian, you will eventually step into the realm of Earthshaker and Opening Heaven, why worry about not getting a woman? While Lin Tian was cooking, Wu Lao did not slack off on his own tasks. He has become more active over the past year. Because Lin Tian no longer needs his help. He has recovered well and can gradually unleash part of his strength. However, Lin Tian temporarily has no plans to rely on Wu Lao's power. Because this would expose his secret of rebirth. And just as Lin Tian finished cooking these few light and delicious dishes, he didn't stop. He continued to practice his skills. Only to see Lin Tian sitting cross-legged on the leaking chair in the kitchen, starting to perform a secret technique. Soul shaking, opening heaven's secluded realm, soul returning to the myriad of me, seeking the ultimate truth of life and death. Combine. Lin Tian recited a mantra, and then the air began to change, with ripples surging. Petals of various sizes continuously fall in the air. Every time Lin Tian performs a secret incantation, he takes a bite of the various items placed on the table. They are exotic beast meat, exotic beast treasures, exotic beast blood, and exotic beast liver. They are all essences, but they taste extremely bloody because they are all freshly collected and stored by Lin Tian using cultivation tools. After hunting, he ensures maximum freshness. But this is a hardship for Lin Tian. Even though Lin Tian is a great emperor reborn, he cannot do without these basic steps. After all, he has no manpower and no cultivation. He has to rely on himself for everything. However, all of this falls into the eyes of the divine soul in Lin Tian's storage ring, which is Wu Lao. Wu Lao, Lin Tian, why do you suffer like this? In the past year, you have been performing this secret incantation every 3 days. I see that your divine soul is gradually weakening, and your body is becoming listless. Is it worth it? Upon hearing the words in his mind, Lin Tian did not answer. Swallowing the fishy and pungent taste in his mouth, he muttered words and activated the incantation. His great emperor reborn divine soul integrated with Lin Tian, turning into the petals that surged and fell in the air. They fell one by one onto each dish. Originally, the tender and fragrant crayfish, steamed fish, and bear paws had a golden or white and tender appearance. With the addition of the medicinal liquid soul made by Lin Tian, a mysterious effect appeared. It made people even more unable to resist the temptation to take a few bites. Even though Lin Tian's body was weakened after performing the secret incantation, his appetite was greatly stimulated. But he couldn't resist. These dishes were not the focus. The focus was the secret incantation that Lin Tian himself performed, which burned his great emperor divine soul and could accelerate the cultivation progress of his master, Zi Yun. Lin Tian couldn't wait to pick Zi Yun, purely because he failed in the sect's grand competition. Originally, he would have won first place, then completed missions to obtain fortuitous treasures, and even obtained Wu Qingran, and so on. But now it's not possible anymore. All because Lin Tian failed, his cultivation level couldn't advance, and he didn't have the opportunity to challenge the useless saint child Su Qingyang or gain the favor of the saintess Wu Qingran, nor did he receive the attention and praise of the Holy Land. His momentum is insufficient, and without the protection of the Holy Land, his development resources are extremely limited. Now he can only take another path. That is to use a strong method and transfer the body and cultivation of the Master Zi Yun, whom he plundered in the middle and later stages of his previous life, to himself. As the male protagonist, Lin Tian is truly ruthless. Even though he later became a great emperor in his previous life and had a noble status, after being reborn. Even if the plot has changed, he thinks it and does it without any hesitation. As for Wu Lao's dissuasion, Lin Tian sneers at it. Would Wu Lao really help me out of kindness? I doubt it. Lin Tian clearly remembers how much effort Wu Lao put into trying to plunder him in his previous life. If it weren't for his destiny, with the help of the heavenly Tao, all the assistance would have been in vain. No matter how difficult it was, he could always overcome it. Perhaps now it's not Lin Tian who has been reborn. It's the ring, Wu Lao. So Lin Tian is extremely cautious. After preparing the dish, Lin Tian coughed heavily and opened his hand, which was placed at the corner of his mouth. It was covered in blood, his own blood. The harm and terror brought by burning the origin of the great emperor's soul can be understood without thinking. But Lin Tian can't care about that much. He must reach the spirit wheel realm within 3 years, that's just the minimum. He can't just be a passerby when the heavenly fire secret realm arrives, right? Even if I start over in this life, even if the plot plan changes, Lin Tian, he will still walk the path of a god alone. Breaking through the gate of the divine realm. Lin Tian, ambitious, let out a sigh. Finally, he added his own soul and the secret method refined with medicinal herbs to those dishes. Now, only the final step is left. But this step, Lin Tian has long been accustomed to it. That is, going to the mountaintop, delivering the dishes to Master Zi Yun, and then leaving after she eats them. This has been effective for a long time. Old man, you wouldn't understand. Since the first second I saw Master Zi Yun, I have deeply fallen in love with her. I want to have her, I'm going crazy for her. Elder Wu. What can Elder Wu do? He is just a soul, he can only try to tempt Lin Tian to become his disciple. But Lin Tian stubbornly refuses and wastes himself by being a woman's lackey. In Elder Wu's eyes, this kind of behavior from Lin Tian is being a lackey. Elder Wu is like a poor person watching a rich person waste money, feeling frustrated that they can't make progress. But of course, Lin Tian is deceiving him. He can't let him know that he can obtain such good cultivation. In any case, Lin Tian will not reveal his secrets to anyone. Even to someone close, he can abandon everything for the sake of becoming stronger. He will fight desperately. There must not be the slightest carelessness or flaw. Elder Wu, you are just brainless, a disgrace among men, a lackey. Using this method to obtain a woman who doesn't like you. Why not cultivate with me? Isn't it enjoyable? Supreme is within reach. Just to exhaust your talent for a woman. HMPH. So what? Lin Tian pursed his lips and put away the dishes and ingredients. The tool is a delicately crafted food box specifically for cultivators, with extremely strong heat preservation and freshness preservation effects. It can keep the dishes fresh even after a long time, as if they were just served. Even the food box is transparent, and you can faintly see the mist inside, enticing and tempting. After finishing, Lin Tian is in a good mood, even though he just used his own source soul to perform the secret method and consumed himself. He is very happy. Soon, Lin Tian could feel that it wouldn't be long before he could obtain everything from his master. With this thought in mind, Lin Tian quickly left the cave mansion on the mountainside and rushed up the mountain. The mountain road was far away, and Lin Tian's cultivation level was not high, but he ran all the way without feeling tired, instead becoming more excited. Even the senior disciple Wu shook his head, apparently not understanding what the world of a licking dog was made of. But he couldn't stop Lin Tian's actions, so he could only watch silently. On top of the mountain peak, there was a grand palace, not as spacious as Su Qingyang's Yin-Yang Palace, which was like a villa park encompassing a large area. Instead, it resembled a temple palace on top of the mountain, a nunnery. Lin Tian arrived in front of the palace gate, where two characters were engraved on the plaque. Ziyun. He knocked on the door but heard no sound. However, Lin Tian was not worried because the medicine he left on his master had a tracking effect. He was afraid that his master would run away early. He had gone to great lengths to obtain Ziyun, even at the cost of his own consumption. He had advanced Ziyun's cultivation technique to the extreme in advance. Come in. After a long time, a cold voice came out. Upon hearing the summons, Lin Tian didn't say a word and directly pushed open the door and walked in. As he walked, he didn't forget to hold the food box, showing his intentions. Lin Tian opened the door, and inside was brightly lit. Master Ziyun was writing, recording formations or notes on alchemy. When Master Ziyun saw that it was Lin Tian, she didn't even lift her head. When Lin Tian approached, Master Ziyun glanced at him, and a hint of disgust flashed in her eyes and disappeared. Recently, Master Ziyun had been feeling inexplicably irritable. The thought of having taken on a male disciple, even though he was just a teenager, brought about a sense of disgust deep within her. Fortunately, it wasn't too strong, and she could still tolerate it. It wouldn't affect their daily communication or matters at hand. Moreover, Lin Tian, her disciple, was kind-hearted. Every few days, he would cook a meal for her, rewarding her as his beautiful master. This made Master Ziyun slightly happy. Well, let me see what you've made for me to taste today, disciple. Oh, there's bear paw, crayfish, and steamed fish. They're all dishes I love. Master Ziyun was somewhat pleased. Lin Tian was also happy and secretly glanced at his beautiful master. Master Ziyun had a youthful and beautiful appearance, dressed in a light purple plain robe with a flowing chiffon skirt. Her long and beautiful legs were fully exposed in the current season, exuding a youthful and hot aura. The alluring meaning was vividly displayed. Above Master Ziyun's face, there was a small mole on her forehead. Her cheeks and temples were snow-white, and her long hair cascaded down her shoulders and back, giving her an extremely beautiful and glamorous appearance. Now, in the hot season, what attracted people's attention the most about Master Ziyun were her long and beautiful legs. Even Lin Tian couldn't help but salivate and be filled with desire when he looked at them. Seeing Lin Tian looking at her, Master Ziyun was puzzled. Disciple, don't you want to taste it? It's all right, Master. You eat. I still have some in the kitchen. I'll eat it later. Alright. Master Ziyun didn't think too much about it, so she immediately used her chopsticks to pick up the food and tasted it, exclaiming in admiration. Disciple, your cultivation hasn't made much progress in the past year. You've only advanced from the mid-stage of true conversion to the late stage, which is quite slow. However, your culinary skills have improved a lot. Master Ziyun teased, and Lin Tian's face turned awkward upon hearing this. Even the old man Wu in his mind couldn't help but laugh out loud. Wu Lao, ha ha ha, kid, your master is praising you, not bad, you're improving too fast. But why is it about cooking? It seems like you're not suitable for cultivation, but more suitable to be a chef. Lin Tian, bullshit, you don't know anything, as the saying goes, if you want to win a woman's heart, you must first win her stomach. If a woman's stomach belongs to you, then her heart will follow sooner or later, right? Lin Tian's inner thoughts were loud and clear, sounding very serious, even causing Wu Lao to nod and praise him. Wu Lao, not bad, doing laundry and cooking for women, and eventually working for women. I spare no effort in being a lapdog. Unfortunately, in my previous life, I only tried having women wash my feet and cook for me, I haven't done this kind of labor much. Wu Lao's sarcastic words were filled with a strange tone, which even made Lin Tian a little angry. Lin Tian, you don't know anything, you know nothing. My skills, Lin Tian's skills, you can't even imagine. One day, you will regret the words you said. Wu Lao, I will. Unfortunately, you don't worship me as your master, otherwise I could help you improve your cultivation level, even reaching the supreme level. Lin Tian, no, I'm not interested. If I were to worship a master, it would only be Ziyun. Lin Tian looked at Ziyun, her hot lips tasting the food, it was simply enchanting. With her fair, long legs resting on the stool, even Lin Tian couldn't help but have some wild thoughts. Just as Lin Tian was waiting, Ziyun, who was halfway through her meal, suddenly frowned. Master, what's wrong? It's nothing. Ziyun felt that something was off. She suddenly had the urge to beat up Lin Tian, but her rationality told her that it was wrong. Disciple, I'm done eating. So fast. Lin Tian was a little surprised. In the past, when he cooked something so delicious, Ziyun's master would finish it all. After all, Lin Tian measured the amount, knowing how much she could eat. But today, she only ate half and stopped. This made Lin Tian feel a bit heartbroken and wasteful. He worked hard to prepare the food, adding secret techniques to it. He must make sure that his master finishes it all. Master, are you not feeling well today? It's a shame to waste so much. I'm quite confident in my own cooking skills. Ziyun heard what Lin Tian said and glanced at him. What's wrong? Are you trying to rush me to eat? Lin Tian felt a slight tension in his heart as he was met with Ziyun's somewhat indifferent gaze. He felt a chilling sensation all over his body. He was currently at the true conversion later stage, while Ziyun had already reached the peak of the opening heaven realm, just one step away from entering the supreme realm. Their strength was incredibly strong, terrifying even. If Lin Tian wanted to touch her brow, he naturally had to consider his own identity. I dare not, it was a slip of the tongue, master. In that case, pour it out. Yes, master. Lin Tian felt that something was off. He vaguely sensed that Ziyun's gaze seemed to hold a hint of disgust. He couldn't pinpoint the exact reason, so Lin Tian could only lower his voice and obediently comply, even though he felt a pang of heartache. But in front of Ziyun, he poured out all the food. I am feeling a bit annoyed, you may leave. At this moment, Ziyun seemed completely different from when Lin Tian had first entered. Lin Tian couldn't help but feel a hint of excitement, wondering if it was because the time for a breakthrough in her cultivation technique was approaching. Yes, master. Lin Tian packed up his things, left Ziyun's hall, and returned to his own cave mansion. So close. I feel like master is about to reach a breakthrough. I didn't expect her to pour it out. Lin Tian was a bit angry, but he had no choice but to quietly cultivate and patiently wait for this final moment. In another place, within the Yin-Yang Palace, Su Qingyang was cultivating when suddenly he felt a slight warmth in the palm of his hand. Su Qingyang smiled and waved a weapon. It was precisely the secret of Elder Ziyun. Lately, for some reason, it seems that even my own disciples have started to dislike me. I don't know what's going on. Could it be that their cultivation has advanced prematurely? It shouldn't be like this. I've never encountered this situation before. Forget it, I'll focus on my cultivation for now and see in a few days. After reading the content, Su Qingyang suddenly had a feeling. This doesn't seem right. In the novel I wrote, Lin Tian only pursued Wu Qingran as his second woman after reaching the middle and later stages, after conquering Zi Wei Master. Why does it suddenly feel different? Su Qingyang is a cautious person. He doesn't believe that everything will go according to the plot. After all, this is the real world, and no one knows what will happen. Because Su Qingyang changed Lin Tian's trajectory and ranking in the competition. As a result, his cultivation level is low, and he didn't obtain resources and fame, causing his growth to be slow. The male protagonist, Lin Tian, will definitely not be willing to accept this. He will find other ways to rise, that's for sure. Su Qingyang has already planned it out. After all, he wrote the book, and he knows the characters' personalities very well. The male protagonist, Lin Tian, is the kind of person who would pay any price or even risk his life for opportunities and success. Luckily, he is the male protagonist. Otherwise, an ordinary person would have died halfway through. So Su Qingyang feels that he needs to pay attention these few days. The situation of Elder Zi Yun in this secret diary may have changed. If necessary, he cannot let Lin Tian obtain this opportunity. Anything that can help the male protagonist rise is equivalent to an enemy of Su Qingyang, the antagonist. Husband, actually, I've mentioned to you before that I have a child. He's named Lin Tian, living outside, a boy. I wonder how he's doing now. Perhaps it was because of the overly happy days, Qin Shui began to think about the child she hadn't really taken care of since birth. Meanwhile, Su Qingyang embraced her, his face filled with tenderness. Really? Then I'll send disciples from the Holy Land to find him. But, husband, won't you be upset? You and Shui already have a family, and this outsider child. Qin Shui hesitated, unsure of how to express her feelings. Lin Tian smiled faintly. Shui, how long have we been together? Almost 2 years. Time flies. Yes, in the blink of an eye, I went from being a little servant to catching the eye of my husband who was still negligent in his cultivation. Well, you see, we've been together for 2 years. How could Shui think differently? How could her husband not know? Su Qingyang, as affectionate as ever, turned his head and gently held Qin Shui's hands, his gaze fixed on her lowered eyes, his expression serious. But, there's no, but, trust what your husband says. His name is Lin Tian, right? I'll help you find him soon, or maybe I'll give you a surprise after we get married. How about that? Husband, you're so good. Qin Shui nodded happily. No matter how mature and stable she was still a mother, and worrying about her child was inevitable. Su Qingyang understood. As for finding Lin Tian, Su Qingyang didn't know where he was yet. But it's not the right time for mother and son to meet for now. Lin Tian is particularly lucky, not easy to deal with. And he even saw his own mother become the wife of his past life's mortal enemy, and they had children. On top of that, there was only a 1-year age difference between him and Su Qingyang. This kind of frustration, Su Qingyang could understand even with his butt. At that time, Lin Tian might really explode on Su Qingyang with all his might, and Su Qingyang didn't have a good way to deal with it. Seek help from others. That's definitely not realistic. Lin Tian is cautious and scheming, and he is hard to guard against. He will take action. It is inevitable that Su Qingyang will have no external support. So Su Qingyang must be cautious. Oh, by the way, husband, do you remember a few days ago when we went to see Xiaobai? Guess what happened? Qin Shui suddenly thought of something happy and wanted to share it with Su Qingyang. Su Qingyang, of course, went along with her. What happened? Haha, I'll take you to see. Only to see the bracelet in Qin Shui's hand transform into a flying ship. This was given to her by Su Qingyang, making it convenient for her to see their son Su Bai's cultivation progress. This flying ship also had good protective effects. Unless it was a very powerful person, it would be difficult to break through. Moreover, many people who had seen it had heard the secret message spread by Su Qingyang through the elders. Anyone who saw this flying ship would know that they were a person of great importance related to the saint child. As for their identity, only a few people knew. Immediately, after half an hour of travel, Su Qingyang and Qin Shui arrived at the cultivation valley of Su Chengwu, the great uncle of the Saint Lord. When they took out the token and stepped into the formation, they saw a beam of light darting around. This made Su Qingyang stunned. Why was he stunned? Isn't this his own son? That's right, Su Qingyang actually guessed it right. At this moment, little Su Bai, after several weeks of cultivation, had learned a method of traveling and perfectly executed his desire to fly. Although it doesn't actually fly, it can run as fast as light, getting faster and faster. With a few leaps, it can fly over roofs and walls. It's hard for ordinary people to tell what it is because it's too fast. Father, mother, Xiao Bai, Su Qingyang and Qin Shui stood there for a while, and the light came to them after running for a while. After a moment, it stopped and turned into the appearance of a little doll. This is too amazing. Lin Tian didn't quite understand how this kid grew up. Clearly, it didn't grow like a normal baby. It looked like it was only 2 years old, but it looked like a 3 or 4-year-old and spoke fluently. Husband, uncle guessed that this is because of Xiaobai's ancient physique, which makes him grow faster and easier to cultivate. Because in ancient times, babies had to face more natural disasters, strange beasts, and dangers. With abundant spiritual energy, their development speed surpasses that of ordinary people. Qin Shui explained. Su Qingyang was lazy. Once he put the child down, he didn't care about anything. If he only came to see him once, he found that the changes were already so big. Come on, Xiao Bai, let your dad take a look. Hee, no, it's because father never came to see me. Su Qingyang had a black face. He saw Su Bai's cunning look and disappeared in a flash. Hey, brat, your old man can't catch you. Su Qingyang pretended to make a great effort, making Qin Shui mutter on the side. No, husband, you're not going to use all your strength on Xiao Bai, are you? Haha, guess. For the rest of the day, Su Qingyang played and frolicked with Su Bai. He deliberately slowed down because his cultivation was at the spirit wheel realm and his physique was not weak. Of course, he couldn't possibly not catch a fully cultivated mortal transformation realm little Su Bai. He was just playing with him. Qin Shui was on the side, enjoying the scenery while taking a walk. Qin Shui hasn't just been practicing and passing time this past year. She has actually been learning some etiquette of a noble lady, as well as skills in artistic music. After all, if a woman has beauty, combined with any advantage, she can become a trump card, but being alone is a dead end. This is also true in the profound heaven continent. Qin Shui is a person who carries herself with dignity and politeness, so naturally she wouldn't waste her youth idly. Whether it's to be able to accompany Su Qingyang by his side in the future, or simply for the sake of developing a hobby, Su Qingyang is happy to see her living a more exciting and fulfilling life. Both sides are very satisfied with this. The more this is the case, the more Su Qingyang feels that Qin Shui is becoming elegant. Not just the charm of a mature woman when they first got together. There is also a feeling of being filled with the air of poetry and books. When they left, Su Qingyang took a photo, capturing the image of the three of them as a family, to show it to Su Bai when he grows up. Su Qingyang and Qin Shui occasionally take it out to look at it. After all, memories of youth are precious and can always be looked back upon. When they left, Su Qingyang praised her, which has become a phrase he often uses to compliment Qin Shui. Shui, you're truly beautiful. Hee, you're annoying, husband. You're the same. You have a handsome appearance too. This isn't just empty flattery, but genuine recognition. Even Su Qingyang has to admit that their understanding of life is truly beautiful. This is a happy life that Su Qingyang, as a former novelist, has never experienced before. A wonderful family, a beautiful wife, outstanding children, they can all live for millions of years, cultivate into immortals, and have a good background. In every aspect, it's something ordinary people aspire to. Apart from being targeted by the male lead, Lin Tian, there really isn't anything to complain about. In this life, Su Qingyang will fully embody the essence of the antagonist. He will not be defeated by the self-proclaimed righteous male lead. Ziyun Peak. 3 days later, Lin Tian stopped practicing in the cave mansion and felt much better. However, he would still feel slightly worse after consuming his energy every 3 days compared to his previous state. It was becoming apparent that Lin Tian's condition was drastically different from before the Great Holy Competition, almost like two different people. There were even faint traces of black energy emanating from his forehead. If it weren't for his incredible luck, Lin Tian could easily trip and fall to his death. This also showcased Lin Tian's strength, as he could be considered a human-shaped cheat code. It's time to reward the master. Lin Tian put away his practice and started to prepare. He took out the exotic beast delicacies he had caught early in the morning, such as plum blossom deer and mountain armored dragons, which were rare delicacies that cultivators could only occasionally enjoy. As a reincarnated great emperor, Lin Tian naturally had knowledge in various fields, including secret methods to obtain delicious food. Moreover, as the male lead of the harem, Lin Tian's culinary skills were classic in seducing women and could be considered as a natural-born 5-star chef. In many novels, as soon as the male lead appeared in the wilderness, he would meet the female lead. At this time, the poor male lead would take out some wild game he had caught during the day to attract the female lead's appetite, gradually capturing her heart in the future. However, this was all cliché, and Lin Tian naturally wouldn't be so ordinary. He had experienced all of this in his previous life and didn't need it now. As always, Lin Tian always found ways to feed his beautiful master Ziyun, using ingredients that were completely different from the past month. In order to make Ziyun enjoy the meal more, he licked the plate clean and absorbed all the secret methods released by Lin Tian to accelerate the cultivation technique. Soon, Lin Tian prepared a delicious meal with 4 dishes, 3 main dishes, and 1 soup, allowing Master Ziyun to indulge in a luxurious experience. Looking at these 3 dishes, even Lin Tian felt that he was in a good state today. The dishes he made were really fragrant. Even he couldn't help but salivate a little when looking at them. Remembering that Master didn't finish her meal last time, Lin Tian left a little for himself to taste. There is no way, he doesn't want to waste like this. Last time when it was poured out, it really broke Lin Tian's heart. And at this moment, Wu Lao jumped out again. Wu Lao, hey, kid, I didn't expect you to be a pure breed bootlicker. You don't leave anything for yourself. After all, this is the first time Wu Lao has seen Lin Tian secretly eating in a year. Lin Tian, I made it myself, what's wrong with eating a little bit? Last time my master poured it out, I can't waste like that. So I reduced it a little bit. Wu Lao, that's good, a man with ambition, I like it. How about becoming my disciple, Wu Tian the great sage? I will teach you how to achieve supreme. It's just around the corner. Lin Tian, no need, you're just a fraud, I don't expect anything from you. Lin Tian deliberately said this, pretending to treat Wu Lao as a fraud, making the latter furious. Otherwise, it would be easy to arouse suspicion. After all, if an ordinary person sees that they can achieve strength, who wouldn't be eager for it? Wu Lao, wait, kid, your master poured it out last time. You're not going to do it again, are you? Lin Tian ignored the old man's nonsense. It has been a year, how could he slack off just because the note is approaching? He, Lin Tian, has never been a slack man. With that in mind, Lin Tian didn't stop his work and started on other tasks. That's right, it's that secret technique. After chewing on a smelly and fishy exotic beast, Lin Tian's eyebrows and nose wrinkled tightly, obviously feeling extremely uncomfortable, nauseous, and even wanting to vomit. But there is no way, this secret technique requires going through this. It must be chewed personally for the maximum effect. This is so disgusting. This is Lin Tian's inner thoughts. Even after doing it for a year, not only did he not develop immunity, but it's getting more and more disgusting. But it's almost there. Soon, I will be able to obtain my master. Achieve the cultivation level 1 want. And more, I can even solve the pleasures of the future. Why not? Lin Tian is now in his late teens, almost 19 years old, at the peak of his youth. Looking back, he has been reborn for so long. But he is still only at the true conversion late stage. It's really frustrating. In his previous life at this age, he had already reached the later stage of the cave mansion. What's going on? The more I mess around, the more I regress. I don't care anymore. I must immediately seek guidance from Master Ziyun and have my cultivation soar. By then, the pressure of my realm and the phenomena will directly envelop the entire yin-yang sacred land. Moreover, conservatively estimating, I can directly break through from the later stage of true conversion to the later stage of cave mansion, or even the early stage of spirit wheel. Lin Tian clearly knew the cultivation level of Master Ziyun, who had achieved the complete opening heaven realm, so he naturally knew where he could break through after obtaining guidance from Ziyun. He would no longer have to endure this weak and life-consuming time. At that time, Lin Tian would rise completely and soar all the way. Without hesitation, Lin Tian recited the secret incantation, and then the tearing pain accompanied by the tearing of his soul struck again. It hurts. This time, even Lin Tian couldn't help but scream out loud. No matter how much he calculated, he ultimately missed a point. That is, the progress of Master Ziyun's techniques. His limit was also approaching. The origin soul of the great emperor would also have a day of exhaustion. Hold on, Lin Tian, just a few more times. As long as you complete these few times, you will surpass your previous life. Achieve an absolute realm advancement, making the entire yin-yang sacred land tremble. And the mastermind behind the scenes tremble. In the future in the sacred land, who would dare to provoke you? Dare to speak ill of you? Lin Tian's face was ferocious, holding onto his inner determination. Even if this pain made him howl like crazy on the ground, after a while, Lin Tian fell straight to the ground. Old Wu, could this kid be dead? After a long time, the pain stopped, and Lin Tian lay motionless on the ground, spitting out a few mouthfuls of black blood. His whole body was soaked in sweat. It felt like a narrow escape from disaster. But fortunately, when Lin Tian looked up at the sky, those spiritual energy medicines turned into petals, floating. Lin Tian was overjoyed. Immediately control the secret technique to let these liquids blend into several dishes. Immediately. Originally, the dishes that were already fragrant from miles away became even more aromatic, causing Lin Tian to feel dizzy and wanting to eat them himself. He suppressed his intense desire and restrained his distractions. This is for Master Ziyun. Lin Tian, you must hold on. Don't slack off in this final stage. Don't relax. After saying that, Lin Tian carefully packed the exquisite food box and took a short rest while sitting cross-legged. He had no choice, the pain was too intense just now. He had to sit on the ground to adjust his breath, so as not to make any unnecessary mistakes. If Master Ziyun noticed that Lin Tian's complexion was off, even though the secret technique used in this dish was colorless and tasteless, it would still raise suspicions. After all, ever since Master Ziyun took in Lin Tian, his progress in cultivation had accelerated. This had to be reflected upon. Lin Tian smiled reassuringly, put away his pale face, calmed his mind, and then headed towards the mountaintop amidst Wu Lao's grumbling. Along the way, there was no longer the same excitement and enthusiasm as last time. Lin Tian seemed a bit lax, finding it difficult to concentrate. He had to forcefully gather his spirits along the way, otherwise, he would look like a frostbitten eggplant. Finally, they arrived at the peak outside Ziyun Hall, and Lin Tian felt relieved. He felt as if climbing the mountain alone had almost cost him his life. Master Ziyun, please hurry up. I, Lin Tian, can't wait any longer. A wicked thought flashed through Lin Tian's mind. He felt like he was about to die. And Master Ziyun was the great tonic, he had to obtain it. After obtaining it, all his efforts over the past year would be worth it. Master, your disciple is here. Lin Tian gently knocked on the door of the Ziyun Palace, and after a while, he heard a cold voice. Come in. As cold as the Nine-Nether cold spring, as cold as a 1,000-year snow-capped mountain, it made Lin Tian tremble a little. But even so, Lin Tian became more excited, feeling that it was getting closer. Closer. Without hesitation, Lin Tian pushed open the door and found that it was dim inside. It was like a fat otaku in his previous life, using his phone in the dark at night, or like a player lying down and slacking off. There was even a hint of decay in the air. It wasn't unpleasant, but Lin Tian sensed that this smell was somewhat similar to the fragrance on Ziyun's body, just with a slightly spoiled feeling. Lin Tian didn't think too much about it. Compared to the bloody and painful experience during the secret technique just now, these things were nothing. Master, I brought you some food. Lin Tian instinctively used respectful language, speaking with a low tone. After a long time, the entire dim room gradually lit up with lights. Those illuminated areas were like night pearls, beautifully illuminating the scenery in the hall. At this moment, the hall was a bit messy, with many things not neatly arranged after use. It was completely different from Ziyun's usual habit of paying attention to the placement of items. It could be seen that Ziyun's mind was in chaos. "Oh, you're here." Ziyun's voice was cold. Lin Tian looked in the direction of the voice and was startled when he saw it. The master had completely changed his appearance. His expression was somewhat listless, his complexion constantly changing, as if he couldn't control his mind, like he had gone astray. Lin Tian dressed up and expressed concern. "Master, what's wrong with you? You look so bad." "It's nothing." Ziyun waved his hand, his eyes randomly changing. Whether it was Lin Tian's illusion or not, he seemed to feel a faint lingering killing intent in the air, as if it wanted to annihilate Lin Tian. However, Lin Tian, being who he is, naturally wouldn't be scared. "Master, you look so pale. Your disciple just happened to bring you some food. We have venison, pangolin, ostrich eggs." Lin Tian caught them himself, and without exception, they were all top-quality delicacies, with great color, fragrance, and taste, making one's appetite soar. Coupled with the exquisite lunchbox, it was extremely enticing and appetizing. Fortunately, Lin Tian's cooking was ultimately of excellent appearance, and Ziyun didn't refuse after looking at it. "All right then, let me taste it." Upon hearing this, Lin Tian smiled, but in a place he didn't notice, a cold smile appeared at the corner of Ziyun's mouth, as if mocking. Ziyun first picked up a piece of venison and took a few bites. In Lin Tian's expectant and serious gaze, Ziyun chewed and chewed, as if his vermilion lips were filled with tempting desire. But in the next second, Ziyun frowned, and Lin Tian's mind tightened, feeling that something was not right. "Sure enough, disciple, the food you made today is not good. If you don't believe it, taste it yourself." After hearing this, Lin Tian was puzzled. He was always confident in his cooking, and this time, both the fragrance and appearance could be said to be at the level of the finest cuisine in the profound Heaven continent. Ziyun, his master, actually said it was not good. Lin Tian took out a pair of chopsticks and tasted it, but he didn't feel anything wrong. He even had the urge to indulge himself in arrogance. Fortunately, he resisted it. "Master, it can't be. Your disciple tasted it and there's no problem," Lin Tian said confidently. Next, Ziyun tasted a few more dishes, and the more he tasted, the more his eyebrows furrowed, as if his displeasure could be seen on his face. And Lin Tian, seeing Ziyun's expression, also had a bad feeling in his heart. "Sure enough, disciple, if you can't cook, then don't. Aren't you just making things difficult for your master?" Lin Tian felt something was off. He was clearly cooking well. But Ziyun insisted that his cooking was not good. "Well, the food made by the master is really unappetizing." This time, Ziyun was even harsher, pouring out the dishes Lin Tian made right in front of him, one by one. Splash! The sound of pouring dishes was continuous. This made Lin Tian feel very uncomfortable. He had made precious delicacies that he had endured soul-tearing pain to create, and they were wasted like this by this cheap master. And it was even harsher than last time, with Ziyun pouring them out personally. Lin Tian felt himself getting angry, but he had to hold it in. After all, this kind of behavior also proved that Ziyun was getting closer. "Wu Lao, kid, I've told you before, you should focus on cultivating. Being a lapdog for women is meaningless. This kind of behavior will only ruin your future. Lapdogs don't deserve a good death." "Lin Tian, you don't understand anything. Shut up." Lin Tian took a deep breath to calm his slight excitement and anger. Ziyun also noticed Lin Tian's slight abnormality, secretly feeling satisfied, but she didn't show it in any way. These days, Ziyun became more and more disgusted with men. Even her disciple, Lin Tian, made her feel repulsed. Whether the dishes were delicious or not didn't matter. But she wanted all the men in the world to experience discomfort and frustration. Even Ziyun couldn't restrain her evil thoughts. "What are you still standing there for? If your cooking is not good, hurry up and go back to cultivate. You don't cultivate all day long, and your cultivation level has been stuck at the late stage of true conversion. You're embarrassing Ziyun Peak." "Lin Tian, Don't tell me you want to stay at the late stage of true conversion next year. Ziyun called out Lin Tian's name, clearly showing some distance. After hearing this, Lin Tian's expression became somewhat awkward. This sentence indeed hit his self-esteem. As a great emperor reborn, his cultivation level was improving so slowly. Isn't he still relying on his master? Lin Tian glanced at Ziyun and lowered his head. And the key point is, last time Ziyun said that although his cultivation level was not great, at least his cooking was decent. Just didn't expect that after 3 days, he couldn't even cook or cultivate anymore. Lin Tian was speechless. But he was happy. It's almost there. Although Ziyun's action of pouring the dishes made him angry, Lin Tian was still excited in his heart. Wu Lao Shen in the ring kept mocking Lin Tian after seeing it. Wu Lao, kid, it seems like your family's secret technique is not working. You said you could get Ziyun, but you didn't even get a hair. After a year, Ziyun is getting more and more disgusted with you. Kid, are you mentally ill or something? Don't let this old man look down on you. Indeed, Wu Lao just saw Lin Tian tearing his soul-refining secret technique and being scolded by Ziyun's master, but he could still force a smile, even feeling a sense of excitement. Wu Lao always felt that this kid's brain was messed up. How did he encounter such a host, and he's just a loser among men, a bootlicker. Lin Tian, you don't know shit. Shut up. Lin Tian was angry and excited. Indeed, because of Ziyun's performance like this. It means that the date when Lin Tian gets her is getting closer. Lin Tian couldn't help but be excited. Not only did he gain cultivation, but Lin Tian also looked at Ziyun's long, snow-white legs that could crush people. Plus, it's summer, with shorts and skirts, showing off her fair skin, very alluring. Even though Lin Tian, as a great emperor reborn, hasn't had the pleasure of a woman for so long. At the age of 18, his blood was boiling, and he felt dry in his mouth. Just waiting to harvest his master Ziyun, this big fish, to complete the hard work of this year. All this hard work is worth it. As long as I get my master Ziyun, all the failures of my rebirth will be overturned. At that time, cultivation, women, treasures, pills. Anything I, Lin Tian, want. I will have it. Lin Tian never forgot Ziyun's identity as a master alchemist, a master formation master, with advanced cultivation and many treasures. If she becomes his woman, what does Lin Tian have to worry about? He will directly take off and start a new adventurous journey. Finally, Lin Tian left expressionless. He couldn't let Ziyun suspect his dissatisfaction and excitement by showing it on his face. But Lin Tian's discomfort was real, but fortunately, he comforted himself that it probably wouldn't take a few days. And so, after Lin Tian returned, another 3 days passed. Just when Lin Tian experienced the torment that almost tore his soul apart, even the pain that could erase him. A person came down the foot of the mountain. Beautiful in appearance, full of youth, confidence and aloofness written on her face. It was hot, and she was wearing a thin long skirt, but through the thin material, you could see her long, snow-white legs, faintly visible, making people's imagination run wild. A figure that could overturn a country. It was Wu Qingran. For some reason, Wu Qingran recently received the first place honor that Lin Tian gave her, which was the experience of Su Qingyang's grandfather. She was puzzled and couldn't answer her cultivation. In addition, since it was given by Lin Tian, she had to come and pay a visit, so as not to appear heartless. In short, Wu Qingran came to the foot of Ziyun Peak as if guided by some unknown force. Afterward, she lit up a holy token and entered the mountain protection formation, at the same time. The movement of the mountain protection formation on Ziyun Peak also let the two people on the peak know. Ziyun naturally didn't care, she knew that the saint was definitely not looking for her. So Wu Qingran went straight to Lin Tian's cave mansion. Speaking of which, the plaque of Lin Tian's cave mansion was very domineering. Tianchong Mansion. It can be seen how ambitious Lin Tian is. Wanting to surpass the heavens and the great Tao. Before she even approached Lin Tian's cave mansion, Wu Qingran smelled a fragrance, which made her feel that her cultivation technique was accelerating and her breathing became somewhat rapid. Obviously, the aroma of the dishes was too outstanding. Even though Wu Qingran, who had been a saint since childhood, had eaten so many delicious foods, she felt that she couldn't compare to these dishes. Smells so good. The female protagonist, Wu Qingran instinctively searched for the source of the fragrance and approached it. She then saw Lin Tian, who had changed into a chef's uniform, bustling around cooking. However, Lin Tian was already finishing up and greeted Wu Qingran when he saw her. "Dancing miss, why are you here? Please have a seat over here." "Lin Tian, I was just taking a walk and came to see you." Wu Qingran was usually aloof and even somewhat blunt, so she didn't think there was anything wrong. But to Lin Tian, it seemed to imply something unclear. The fact that Wu Qingran came to see him in person indicated some goodwill, and Lin Tian suddenly felt very happy. He could now focus on taking care of this holy woman. Let her also be embraced by him. "Well, dancing miss, I'm cooking." "What are you cooking? Can I take a look?" Wu Qingran hesitated to speak. Of course, she wouldn't say she wanted to eat, but she would show a curious and somewhat eager expression, while Lin Tian looked troubled. If following the normal plot, he would give Wu Qingran most of the food since it smelled so good, and he would only eat a small portion himself. This would make him appear more gentlemanly, or rather, more considerate towards Wu Qingran, and it would win her favor. But times have changed. The fragrance of these dishes was so tempting that it reached the depths of one's bones. Even Lin Tian, with his strong willpower, had to exert a lot of effort to resist the temptation. This was also because of his secret method, which could help people accelerate their cultivation by using a spiritual elixir. This elixir was also a great supplement for cultivators, even possessing an allure similar to a rare treasure. Lin Tian wanted to refuse Wu Qingran's longing, but he didn't know what to say. Meanwhile, Wu Qingran thought that Lin Tian was so magnanimous that he could even give up the ancestral master's cultivation insights. So, she thought it wouldn't be excessive to take a look at these dishes. It wasn't that Wu Qingran was being too proactive, she was originally very aloof. But the dishes that Lin Tian cooked were truly too fragrant. It made her unable to resist the temptation of taking a bite. Seeing this, Lin Tian couldn't stop her and remained silent. Wu Qingran approached and looked again and again. "What is this?" "Braised fish, with a vibrant golden color and the best appearance." "And this?" "The tenderest pieces of meat from Baoshan pigs. Roasted to a red color, the fragrance can be smelled from 100 meters away." Qingshui dragon, a mutated fish species, the pinnacle of gourmet fish. It has a unique texture that melts in your mouth, taking a bite makes you feel like you're floating in a fairyland. Indeed, Lin Tian was a master of culinary arts, describing each dish one by one, even highlighting their advantages, characteristics, flavors, and appearances in great detail. On this matter, Lin Tian was very knowledgeable and proud. If it weren't for being the protagonist of the cultivation world in a culinary novel, Lin Tian would definitely be the top existence. And Lin Tian's confident appearance also caught Wu Qingran's attention. Suddenly, she had a much higher opinion of Lin Tian. Not for anything else, but solely because of those delicious dishes. The colors, aromas, and flavors were already enough to attract her. After all, regardless of where one is, having a love for food and enjoying eating is a great pleasure in life. Wu Qingran, who had grown up eating precious delicacies, had never tasted such unique dishes made by Lin Tian. It made her appetite slightly rise. Then, the atmosphere between the two became tense, and neither of them spoke. Normally, Lin Tian, who was reasonable and understanding, would take the initiative, but he clearly didn't want to let Wu Qingran taste these dishes. After all, his main goal now was his master, Zi Yun. He couldn't slack off because of an accident. After a long time, seeing that Lin Tian didn't speak, Wu Qingran, the cold and noble saintess, couldn't help but speak up, wanting to taste it. Lin Tian, can I have a taste?" Lin Tian sighed inwardly, knowing that he would have to face this eventually. "No, Miss Wu, this is for Master Lin Tian." Upon hearing Lin Tian's immediate refusal, Wu Qingran felt somewhat disappointed and her expression became a bit awkward. As a saintess, she had taken the initiative, but was unexpectedly rejected by Lin Tian, which made her lose face. Seeing Wu Qingran's displeased expression, Lin Tian quickly spoke up. "Miss Wu, please don't misunderstand. If you want to eat, I can make some more for you later, is that all right?" HMPH. Wu Qingran's expression turned cold, and without thinking, she let out a light snort without saying a word, clearly indicating that her inner pride had been hurt. She couldn't even compare to an elder. Wu Qingran, who had been doted on since childhood, felt a slight dissatisfaction, but it was just a small matter. She was more proud, but she wouldn't allow others to trample on her. Moreover, she had long heard that the elders of Ziyun Peak were equally beautiful and were considered the twin pride of the Holy Land. In the past, when Lin Tian first met Wu Qingran, although his expression was cold, he would at least take the initiative to help. Now that their relationship had deepened a bit, he was rejecting her instead. How could the proud Wu Qingran accept this? Meanwhile, Lin Tian wore an embarrassed expression. He knew very well that this would lower her opinion of him. But he could only use his secret technique once every 3 days. If Wu Qingran ate it, what would he have left to feed Master Ziyun? If Wu Qingran wanted to eat, he could make more. Miss Wu, I won't eat any more, I'm leaving. Without hesitation, Wu Qingran decided not to continue entangling with Lin Tian. Even if the food was delicious, her pride wouldn't allow anyone to trample on it. Leaving behind a dumbfounded Lin Tian. Is it necessary to be like this? Lin Tian was speechless. The Wu Qingran from his previous life didn't seem to have such arrogance. Why did she now seem like a completely different person when facing him? Lin Tian never thought about one thing, which was how glorious he was in his past life. He was the first in the sect's grand competition and even challenged Saint Child Su Qingyang and defeated him, enjoying the praise from all sides. The plot of a beautiful woman admiring a hero naturally played out between Wu Qingran and Lin Tian. But in this life, it wouldn't happen. Wu Qingran felt that Lin Tian had cheated to obtain the honor of being first, and during the grand competition, she even felt disgusted by him. If it weren't for giving Lin Tian this book of the ancestors' martial arts insights, Wu Qingran probably wouldn't even bother with him. Finally triggering the plot where the protagonist interacts, Wu Qingran came to find Lin Tian. But to her surprise, Lin Tian didn't share the delicious food with her. Not only that, he even said it was specifically for his master, which undoubtedly intensified Wu Qingran's feeling that Lin Tian didn't care about her. After Wu Qingran left, she continued to stroll leisurely. Years of habit made her enjoy walking alone in the Holy Land, experiencing life. Suddenly, she seemed to think of something. Then, her steps changed, and she walked straight in that direction. That's right, it was Yin Yang Palace, where Saint Child Su Qingyang was located. After a while, Qingran, what brings you here today? Good, please wait a moment, Holy Maiden. Su Qingyang's attendants may not be familiar with everyone, but they would never be unfamiliar with Wu Qingran. After all, Su Qingyang used to be a bootlicker, thinking about Holy Maiden Wu Qingran every day. Plus, Wu Qingran had come to Yin Yang Palace many times before because of this. So all the attendants, regardless of gender, recognized Wu Qingran as the Holy Maiden of Yin Yang Sacred Land. Wu Qingran entered without even showing her token, and the attendants went to report. What brings my junior sister here to see me? Su Qingyang stopped his cultivation, treated his guests, and had his attendants make tea. At this moment, Qin Shui also came out and saw Wu Qingran, suddenly feeling a sense of emotion. The Holy Maiden really doesn't know the goodness of her husband. She used to ignore him, but fortunately, it made her husband realize and finally see Shui's worth. Qin Shui is not a proud person. Facing the Holy Maiden Wu Qingran, she is both grateful and emotional, but she does not harbor any hatred or jealousy. After all, Su Qingyang's heart is now completely devoted to her, and she is truly happy. She has what she wants and she diligently cultivates her hobbies and interests every day. Even the illness that plagued her for many years was cured by Su Qingyang. She has always felt that dedicating herself to the Saint Child is the happiest thing, even though she initially resisted while the Saint Child was proactive. But now, after nearly 2 years together, they are like an old married couple, still affectionate and loving, with a great relationship. Sister, this is Shui. I introduced her to you before. Oh, there's something I need to tell you. In about half a year, Shui and I will be getting married. Wu Qingran had originally wanted to chat for a while before discussing cultivation matters, but her senior brother dropped a bombshell of news, leaving her with a sense of inexplicable loss. She couldn't quite put it into words. It's not that she didn't like her senior brother being with someone else, but the thought of her senior brother, who had always been good to her since childhood, now having a new love for almost 2 years and having a great relationship. Just like that, with their intimate gestures and eye contact, it seemed like they could understand each other with just a glance. Wu Qingran suddenly felt a bit envious. Although she may appear aloof, she has always hoped that there would be an outstanding, talented, and proud man in her life that would make her proud. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened yet. Originally, her heart had fluttered for Lin Tian during their adventures in the secret realm, but after a few times, her feelings for him fluctuated. She felt uneasy, so she didn't have the energy to focus on Lin Tian. What every girl desires most is a sense of peace, but unfortunately, Lin Tian didn't give her that. Ask any young girl, who doesn't yearn for romance. Wu Qingran's cold personality doesn't mean that she doesn't hope for a partner to cultivate with. Now that her senior brother has found someone, she is still waiting. Sister-in-law, sister-in-law. Finally, Wu Qingran hesitated and shouted, "Hey!" Qin Shui smiled happily, without any other meaning, which made Wu Qingran feel much better. After all, in the past, her senior brothers used to chase after her, but now it's all in the past. However, her senior brothers are doing better and have reached a higher realm, which she can't compare to. Compared to Su Qingyang, Wu Qingran suddenly realized that she seemed to be inferior to her senior brother. Her pride, at this moment, was once again defeated. Her realm is not as high as her senior brother's, and her life is not as good as her senior brother's. Thinking back to the past when she mocked her senior brother for not practicing properly, she didn't expect her senior brother, who had given up on her, to be so outstanding. Suddenly, a feeling she had never experienced before arose in Wu Qingran's heart, like jealousy, but not entirely. In short, it was inexplicable. From childhood to adulthood, she gradually grew to dislike her senior brother. She didn't expect that one day she would have a different feeling. Because Wu Qingran suddenly realized that she seemed to have never seen a man more outstanding than senior brother Saint Child. This made her feel a little sad. "Junior sister, what's wrong with you?" Su Qingyang and Qin Shui were sitting on the side, chatting peacefully, while Wu Qingran was lost in thought. "Ah, nothing, senior brother. I came to find you this time to discuss some issues with the cultivation technique." Wu Qingran generously shared her insights on the cultivation technique and the problems she encountered in her practice, which she couldn't understand. She told Su Qingyang. Fortunately, she didn't mention Lin Tian's name, so Qin Shui didn't think much of it. "Then let's go. It just so happens that senior brother has nothing to do today and is planning to take a rest. Since junior sister is here, of course, we should treat her with respect." Su Qingyang generously led Wu Qingran to a spacious practice area to guide her and solve her cultivation confusion. "Senior brother, ever since I returned from my training, I have been stuck at the late stage of the cave mansion realm and have not made any progress, even after studying our ancestors' insights into cultivation. Why is this?" When it comes to cultivation, Wu Qingran is extremely serious. She indeed has the capital to be proud, as apart from Su Qingyang, no one in the entire Holy Land has a higher talent for cultivation than her. If it weren't for the system's talent, the original Su Qingyang would have no way to compare with her. Oh, upon hearing Wu Qingran's confusion, Su Qingyang also gave serious guidance, so he thought about it carefully. "In that case, senior brother will explain. This is just senior brother's perspective, and I hope junior sister will consider it for herself. Senior brother believes that regardless of all cultivation techniques and all individuals, even if they practice the yin-yang technique of the same holy land, there will still be differences in aptitude, temperament, character, attitude, and habits. Our ancestors' achievements are bound to be high. But there is one problem." "Senior brother, what problem?" Wu Qingran is puzzled, and Su Qingyang shakes his head. "That is, our ancestors' cultivation habits may not necessarily be suitable for junior sister." "Then isn't this cultivation method useless?" "Not entirely, on the contrary, it is very useful." "Why does senior brother say that?" "Because cultivation techniques are like people, they are the foundation of cultivation. You can refer to and learn from them, but you cannot completely imitate them. Moreover, you cannot fall into the trap of thinking that it is a bad thing if you cannot make progress for a long time. Since you came to find senior brother today, it means that you have been at this bottleneck for a while and have touched this limit. As for when you will break through, it entirely depends on junior sister's comprehension. It is harmful to force it too much. You can observe senior brother's key points of cultivation, compare them with your own, and also compare them with our ancestors' key points. Then find a way that suits you. This bottleneck will naturally be overcome. After speaking, Su Qingyang sat down and started to cultivate, using his spiritual energy to demonstrate the transformation of that kind of power to Wu Qingran. After thinking for a while, Wu Qingran took out her insights notebook, observed, and then sat cross-legged, entering a state of cultivation. Upon seeing this, Su Qingyang smiled slightly, didn't say anything, and just waited there. Wu Qingran sat cross-legged, sitting from noon until evening, and then into the night. Finally, when the moon was bright, the spiritual energy on Wu Qingran's body rolled and converged. Opening her eyes, it seemed as if a ray of brilliance flashed by, dazzling and eye-catching. Thank you, senior brother. Wu Qingran sincerely admired Su Qingyang from the bottom of her heart. She had never imagined that there would be such a day when her senior brother, who was known for being a playboy, would actually be able to teach her about cultivation and other matters. Thinking of this, not only admiration flashed in Wu Qingran's eyes, but also a hint of a different color, perhaps an admiration for strong individuals and top students. However, it was only a trace. She had a cold and proud personality, and unless she had strong emotions, she generally wouldn't show it. Hee, junior sister's progress in cultivation is good. Senior brother's guidance is just some experience. There's no need to thank me. If junior sister has gained some understanding, it means she has reached a bottleneck and it's a natural progression. Su Qingyang's modesty, without any arrogance or other emotions, made Wu Qingran look at him with even higher regard, and a hint of surprise flashed in her eyes. For the first time, she felt that her senior brother seemed quite extraordinary. I should be the one thanking senior brother for the guidance. After returning this time, I estimate that junior sister will be able to break through to the perfect state of the cave mansion realm within 7 days. Congratulations then. Su Qingyang smiled slightly. After all, they had been childhood friends. He didn't need to be a bootlicker and care so much about the past. Seeing Su Qingyang so cheerful, with such strong talent in cultivation and such a broad mind, Wu Qingran had actually thought about it before. If she were to visit her senior brother, how would he see her? It was she who had personally said that once she finished using up the resources, she would ask her senior brother not to disturb her. But now she had taken the initiative to seek his advice. Not only that, Su Qingyang had actually helped her. She felt extremely happy. When a woman is happy, she naturally develops good feelings. And when there are more good feelings, it's easy to develop a liking. Su Qingyang didn't mind these things. At this moment, Qin Shui walked over from the palace. Qingran, since sister-in-law is calling you like this, you should be fine, right? Do you want to stay and have dinner together before going back to cultivate? Sister-in-law personally cooked, you can taste her cooking skills. Qin Shui is very enthusiastic and polite. Coupled with her excellent figure and decent dressing, Wu Qingran suddenly realized that his senior brother's wife, who is also his sister-in-law, is actually not inferior in appearance to himself. This made her feel a little strange, but she didn't pay much attention to it. The main thing is that Wu Qingran suddenly thought that in the morning, when she took the initiative to ask Lin Tian to taste her cooking skills, Lin Tian did not agree. On the other hand, on the senior brother's side, his sister-in-law was hospitable to guests, and the senior brother personally taught her cultivation. This made her feel a bit sentimental and warm. Maybe it's because she's used to being alone, or maybe it's because she's been cold for too long. Wu Qingran seemed to feel that it wouldn't hurt to stay and have a meal. Moreover, the more she thought about how Lin Tian ignored her when she took the initiative at noon, the more unhappy she felt deep down. Well, thank you sister-in-law and senior brother. Then let me taste sister-in-law's cooking. Qin Shui was very happy, and Su Qingyang smiled slightly without saying anything. As long as Qin Shui is happy, he doesn't really care. Qin Shui is happy because her husband is used to her cooking. Now that her husband's junior sister, the Holy Maiden, can taste it, that's great. It feels like facing an old rival. In addition, after Qin Shui and Su Qingyang got together, they learned various skills besides cultivation. The purpose is to better assist her husband in the position of saint child, or to succeed as the future Holy Lord. She strives to be a good wife and helpmate, which also makes Su Qingyang very happy. Boiled lobster, deep-fried crab, steamed lamb cake, stir-fried fish balls, durian crisp, oolong soup, chrysanthemum tea. Qin Shui and Su Qingyang brought Wu Qingran to the dining hall of the Yin-Yang Palace, where a large table was delicately arranged. The entire space had a luxurious atmosphere and an indescribable sense of luxury and warmth. Wu Qingran, who had been practicing alone for a long time, felt a little uncomfortable sitting in a place like this at first. Although only the three of them were eating, the attendants and others were waiting outside the door. But it also made Wu Qingran feel what it's like to have a home and be lively. Su Qingyang occasionally picked up food for Qin Shui, while Qin Shui chatted warmly with Wu Qingran and also picked up food for her. The intention seemed to be to show more care for her husband's junior sister. Wu Qingran suddenly felt a strange feeling in her heart. The dishes on this table were all delicious. After all, Qin Shui had also studied cooking with a chef. In addition, as the male protagonist's mother, she had the same talent as Lin Tian, which was that the food she cooked was really delicious. Although there was no secret technique added, it still made Wu Qingran's appetite soar. Due to her reserved nature, Wu Qingran ate slowly. However, while eating, she occasionally glanced at her senior brother Su Qingyang. She found that he rarely looked at her, and mostly focused on his sister-in-law. For some reason, Wu Qingran began to compare Lin Tian and Su Qingyang. Senior brother has a profound cultivation level, and now he has a cheerful temperament and handles things properly. He treats his sister-in-law well and his status is not inferior to mine. In the future, he may even succeed as the Holy Lord. On the other hand, Lin Tian, he throws away important resources, cheats in competitions to gain power, has average strength, a proud personality, and although his cooking is delicious, he doesn't let me taste it. As soon as Wu Qingran made the comparison, she immediately realized that Lin Tian couldn't compare to her senior brother at all. Just his powerful spirit wheel cultivation level. And who knows what level her senior brother's cultivation has reached now. His aura is like an abyss. On the other hand, Lin Tian, his cultivation level is only at the true conversion late stage, and he is not even as good as her. Wu Qingran suddenly realized that she seemed to have missed something. She had always believed that her true love would appear in her life. But he never did. Lin Tian, who used to be powerful in the secret realm, is now living an ordinary life. On the other hand, senior brother Saint Child steadily climbs to the top step by step. A strange seed was planted in Wu Qingran's heart. Sister, after we finish eating, senior brother wants to take Shui for a walk. Do you want to come along? Wu Qingran wanted to refuse. She knew it was inappropriate to join a couple for a walk and be a third wheel. But besides Su Qingyang, there was one more person here, and that was Qin Shui. Perhaps Qin Shui didn't have many playmates after spending so much time with Su Qingyang, so when she saw Wu Qingran, she instinctively wanted to include her in their conversation. Qingran, it's all right. Sister-in-law and my husband have been walking together for a long time. It's just that you rarely come to Yin-Yang Palace, so you can come more often. In the end, Wu Qingran reluctantly accompanied her senior brother and sister-in-law for a walk near Yin-Yang Palace. During that time, she finally experienced what it felt like to be a third wheel. But fortunately, Qin Shui always pulled her into conversation. Meanwhile, Su Qingyang remained quiet most of the time. Not for any particular reason, but mainly because he wanted to save face for his junior sister, the Saintess. Besides, as long as Qin Shui was happy. As a villain, Su Qingyang's considerate emotional intelligence and change in personality completely changed Wu Qingran's perspective. For the first time, she saw so many good qualities in a man from her senior brother. Knowing how to take care of the opposite gender. Just this alone surpasses countless cultivators. Coupled with his high cultivation level and strong talent. Even if Wu Qingran was an iceberg, she couldn't help but take a second look. On the peak of Ziyun Peak, Lin Tian's expression was helpless. In his previous life, he never saw Wu Qingran being so arrogant, because in his previous life, Lin Tian was quite outstanding. But now, he was just a male cultivator who cheated to get first place and had not made any progress in his cultivation. At most, he could make Wu Qingran pay a little more attention to him. However, Lin Tian was helpless. As the great emperor of deep affection in his previous life, he didn't care about such trivial matters. If the good impression was gone, he could build it up again. There was only one chance to seize the opportunity to improve his cultivation. If he missed it, and had to wait another 10 years, could Lin Tian afford to wait? Once he missed those opportunities, Lin Tian would lose all his advantages. After all, the advantage of being reborn was knowing that information. The importance of information lies in timing. If the timing is missed, the information becomes meaningless. So, shaking his head, Lin Tian put aside the matter of Wu Qingran and went up to the peak, putting away the food box. This time, Lin Tian was full of confidence. He believed that what he had made was all top-notch delicacies. Even Wu Qingran couldn't resist the temptation and wanted to taste them, but Lin Tian refused. It can be imagined how delicious these delicacies were. Master, your disciple Lin Tian requests an audience. Outside Ziyun Hall, Lin Tian spoke with a humble attitude. He was softer than the previous few times. He also had a premonition that his master, Ziyun, was about to have a breakthrough, but he couldn't determine the exact day. He waited for a long time, but there was no response. Lin Tian was puzzled. This shouldn't be the case. His secret technique located his master inside. Could it be that his master had already had a breakthrough and didn't have time to come out? Thinking of this, Lin Tian didn't hesitate and pushed open the door to enter. As a result, it was pitch black inside, without a trace of light or vitality. And there was a faint feeling of unease that made Lin Tian feel it too. Master, Lin Tian whispered quietly. No one responded. So Lin Tian didn't hold back and directly took out a bright night lamp, which was a lighting object specifically used by cultivators when traveling at night. It wasn't very bright, but at least the interior of the main hall could be seen clearly. Lin Tian looked around, but didn't see the figure of Master Ziyun. He felt a bit strange. Lin Tian didn't have time to think about it and placed the lamp in the main hall before starting to search. He first went to Ziyun's bedroom and found that there was no one inside. He then went to several storage rooms, but there was no one there either. Afterwards, Lin Tian came to the formation hall and found that it was in a state of chaos, but Ziyun was still not inside. Finally, Lin Tian was certain. Everything else is empty, so only the alchemy room is left. Lin Tian took a deep breath. He seemed to be able to sense the burning atmosphere in the air inside, at least confirming that there must be some changes in Master Ziyun. Even his own disciple was ignored. Lin Tian gently pushed open the door to Ziyun's alchemy room, making a creaking sound. Lin Tian's gaze froze. The situation inside was worse than he had expected. There were scrolls scattered all over the place, and many bottles and jars were haphazardly placed on the ground, creating a mess. The entire room was in a chaotic state. However, sitting cross-legged in the middle was a woman. An exceptionally beautiful woman. She exuded a more captivating aura than Master Ziyun that Lin Tian had seen last time. Her whole body emitted an extraordinary charm that bewitched people's hearts. Master, Lin Tian hesitated for a moment before calling out. This time, it had an effect. Ziyun's stunning figure slowly turned around. When Lin Tian looked over, it startled him. He saw that Ziyun's lips were slightly purple, as if he had taken drugs. His face had a tinge of green and there were many different colored patterns on his face, giving off a strange and eerie beauty. It made Lin Tian feel a little uncomfortable, almost like some kind of mythical creature. Ziyun stuck out his tongue and licked the corner of his mouth, looking quite seductive. Disciple, why have you come to find your master? Didn't you see that your master is in the middle of alchemy? Ziyun's voice sounded like it was mixed with the sound of some kind of exotic beast, not like a human. This made Lin Tian's expression somewhat solemn. Lin Tian looked with his eyes and indeed, Ziyun was indeed in the middle of alchemy, but this pill was truly terrifying. It startled Lin Tian. There were human heads, human bones, and even strange objects that looked like body parts. It was a scene of great horror. Master, disciple has prepared some food for you to taste. Taking a deep breath, Lin Tian remained calm and finished speaking. However, he noticed that his master's gaze wasn't focused on listening at all. Instead, it was constantly wandering around him, with a playful and even provocative look in his eyes. Regardless of his master's behavior, Lin Tian turned around and returned to the main hall, with Ziyun following behind. Lin Tian remained calm. As a great emperor, he had seen all kinds of situations. Even if Ziyun's transformation was great, he believed he could handle it. Master, this is braised fish, with a bright golden color and excellent appearance. This is tender meat from the Baoshan pig, roasted to a red color, with a unique fragrance. And this, Qing Shui dragon, a mutated fish species, an exquisite delicacy. This time, Lin Tian came prepared. In order to get Ziyun to eat, he carefully introduced the style, appearance, and taste of the food. However, Ziyun's gaze was not on the food at all. Instead, he kept staring at Lin Tian, making Lin Tian feel uneasy, as if he were prey. No need to introduce, disciple. Your master doesn't care about these. Master, don't you want to taste it? Lin Tian asked in confusion. Ziyun, with a peculiar expression, shook her head and looked at Lin Tian with interest in her eyes. Disciple, tell me, am I beautiful? Lin Tian's face turned dark. Goodness, this master of his is up to something wicked. Very beautiful, master. Please try the dish I made. Ziyun, seeing that Lin Tian wasn't cooperating, felt a little annoyed but still picked up her chopsticks and took a bite. But as soon as she tasted it, her eyebrows furrowed. Disciple, did you put so much salt to kill me with saltiness? Lin Tian felt embarrassed. This master is not right. He could only taste it himself. Master, is there a problem? Please eat it quickly, Lin Tian hurriedly said. The atmosphere was a bit off, and he didn't believe that Ziyun, his master, would be so kind to a man before erupting. There must be some hidden danger. Lin Tian just wanted to see Ziyun, his master, eat these secret medicinal foods and then quickly leave. He didn't want to stay here for another moment. Don't be in such a hurry. Disciple, are you so eager to see me? Ziyun asked. Or, do you dislike me? In the next moment, Ziyun, who had been smiling and charming Lin Tian, immediately turned red-eyed, with bloodshot eyes, and a surge of hatred appeared. Obviously, she was extremely displeased that Lin Tian, as a man, dared to get so close to her. Lin Tian's hair stood on end, the change in atmosphere was too sudden, and he couldn't react in time. In the next moment, under Lin Tian's furious gaze, Ziyun completely ignored the dishes on the table and flipped the entire table onto the ground. The delicious food scattered all over the floor, but Ziyun completely disregarded these external things and stared at Lin Tian intently. Her murderous intent was revealed. Wu Lao, kid, I've told you before, being a licking dog is meaningless. If you insist on doing it, I said you should worship me as your master. But you refused. Now look what happened. I've put in so much effort, and I'm just laughing at it all. In Lin Tian's mind, he could hear the mocking laughter of the soul of the ring, Wu Lao, mocking his behavior as a licking dog. In Wu Lao's eyes, for the past few days, every time Lin Tian cooked a meal, he had to endure the torment of his soul being torn apart. And most importantly, he always ended up spilling it for that beautiful female master, which made Wu Lao laugh. Lin Tian, shut up. Lin Tian's veins bulged, his forehead felt a bit hot, whether it was from anger or something else. He did all this in order to help Ziyun's cultivation technique break through faster. But what were the results? Each time was more brutal than the last. Ziyun's attitude towards Lin Tian, even though he was mentally prepared, it still caused immense damage to Lin Tian's heart. He may be a great emperor reborn, with exceptional talent, but he is still human. His master, no matter how heartless, shouldn't be like this. Lin Tian felt like his mentality was about to collapse. Just at that moment, Ziyun directly grabbed Lin Tian's collar. What's wrong, disciple? You seem quite unhappy. Ha ha ha. Ziyun changed his usual indifferent image, and shamelessly laughed at Lin Tian. That ecstatic appearance made Lin Tian feel like Ziyun had gone mad. Feeling the immense strength at his neck, Lin Tian's cultivation level was not high enough to control himself. He couldn't resist at all. But in the next moment, Lin Tian was thrown to the ground, like a dog eating mud. Fortunately, it seems that Ziyun cannot control his mind, so he cannot continue to hold on to Lin Tian. And Lin Tian also breathed a sigh of relief. Otherwise, he couldn't help but burst out with secret techniques to escape. I saw that Ziyun's appearance suddenly changed, sometimes charming, sometimes fanatical. In short, it doesn't seem like a normal phenomenon. Wu Lao, kid, why aren't you leaving? I feel that your master is going crazy with alchemy. If you don't leave, you'll suffer. Just with your small true conversion late stage. Accept me as your master, and I'll immediately teach you how to become stronger. Lin Tian, shut up. You don't know anything. Just a moment ago, Lin Tian was angry. But now he is completely excited. Yes, this is the state. This is the state. Lin Tian saw it once in his previous life. That was the day before Ziyun's eruption, and it seemed that something extraordinary happened. Thinking of this, Lin Tian is completely excited. He finally waited for this day. Ziyun's master's technique is erupting and transforming. It is the moment when Lin Tian rises. Just as Lin Tian was excited, Ziyun calmed down for a while and stared at him. His gaze was like an icy mountain, oppressing Lin Tian to the point of breathlessness. The powerful cultivation pressure made Lin Tian feel suffocated. Master, the disciple just remembered something. With great difficulty, Lin Tian spoke some words, but it seemed to be effective. I saw Ziyun's gaze struggling and constantly changing, and Lin Tian felt the force on his neck getting heavier and lighter. It was extremely uncomfortable. Finally, he relaxed, and Lin Tian fell to the ground, coughing and gasping for breath. You better leave now. I saw Ziyun exerting his last bit of strength to say something sensible, telling Lin Tian to leave. After experiencing this oppression, Lin Tian knew it was not the time, so how could he dare to stay? He quickly ran away. When leaving, Lin Tian didn't forget to take the lunchbox with him. Seeing the scattered food on the ground, Lin Tian was filled with regret and heartache. If I had known, I should have given it to Wu Qinran to eat. What a waste. A hint of regret flashed through Lin Tian's mind, but he didn't think much of it. Closing the doors of the Ziyun Hall, he headed back to his own cave mansion. After Lin Tian left, Ziyun completely erupted. Unable to bear the anger and rage in her heart any longer. Why are there men like this in the world? Die, all of you, die. Fortunately, Lin Tian wasn't there when Ziyun went crazy, otherwise, if Lin Tian had stayed, it's hard to say he wouldn't have taken the express train to the afterlife. Lin Tian returned to his cave mansion, still trembling with fear. Just being lifted up and facing the killing intent of Ziyun Shizhen. He was so scared that he didn't dare to move. No matter how strong he was just a weak coon, with no ability to resist. Otherwise, he would have to rely on extreme means at a great cost, or surrender himself to Wu Lao. But Lin Tian didn't want any of that. Fortunately, Ziyun managed to maintain a trace of sanity in the end, giving Lin Tian a chance to escape. Wu Lao, tisk tisk tisk. You brat, you're really lucky. I saw that Ziyun Shizhen went crazy. Yet you managed to walk out of that situation. But are you a masochist or do you have a submissive personality? Why do you enjoy being abused by women so much? Indeed, upon closer inspection, Lin Tian had wounds all over his body. Even though Ziyun didn't lay a hand on him, her powerful opening heaven cultivation and spiritual pressure were more than enough to deal with a mere true conversion late-stage cultivator. Some of the wounds were still bleeding. But this only made Lin Tian more excited. His mind was now filled with thoughts of tomorrow. As expected, tomorrow would be Ziyun's outbreak day. Lin Tian would definitely pay special attention to Ziyun Shizhen's movements today. He even kept sensing, ready to follow and track Ziyun Shizhen's location at any time. Looking forward to capturing her. Until that moment. He. Lin Tian revealed an arrogant smile. Wu Lao kept muttering. Wu Lao, could this kid really be a masochist? Or is he just a double-faced dog and a masochist? Wu Saint Child, I'm so unlucky. How did I end up with this host? Not only did he not become my disciple, he even worshipped a beauty. And after worshipping the beauty, he still wants to be a lapdog. It's really disgusting. Lin Tian. Bullshit. Ziyun Shizhen is my dream lover. Old man, you don't understand anything. If I get her, I get everything. Lin Tian's thoughts were extremely crazy in his heart. No one was more excited than him. The suffering he endured in this year. Tomorrow. He will be able to repay himself, Lin Tian. Lin Tian. Finally, he can truly embark on the path of a god. Just by obtaining Ziyun. Obtaining everything. Lin Tian sat cross-legged and began to calm his mind. The inner Wu Lao was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood, full of regret. He was increasingly regretting choosing Lin Tian as his host. He never thought that in this lifetime, he would make such a regretful decision. That is, choosing Lin Tian as his host. Everything was planned, but this kid didn't listen no matter what, he didn't become a disciple, and he didn't worship him. It made Wu Lao suffer so much. Wu Lao even considered in his mind whether he should find a way to escape from this situation. And then find another host. But the premise is, he can further restore his strength, and if Lin Tian continues to be so brainless and refuses to worship him as a teacher, then he will no longer hesitate. Now Wu Lao has already had this slight idea. Diary being updated in real time. In difficult circumstances, I have written this diary. This will be another outbreak of my skills in the past decade. But I don't understand why these past 10 years have gone by so quickly. Clearly, the date hasn't even arrived yet, but my cultivation has already erupted ahead of time. I feel like I can't suppress myself anymore. Ziyun.jpg. That's how it is. I feel like I can't wait any longer. At the latest, tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, my cultivation will completely erupt. Calm down and forget everything. How can I be calm? How can I forget? Stupid men. Why does the world have such creatures as men? When Su Qingyang saw the later part, it turned out that the elegant handwriting had become distorted. Obviously, Elder Ziyun can no longer control his state of mind, and the eruption of his cultivation has been brought forward. According to the trajectory of the novel, Lin Tian only experiences this in the middle or later stages, but now he has already achieved it in the early stages. This Lin Tian is truly extraordinary. After being reborn, he actually came up with such a method to soar. Su Qingyang speculates that Lin Tian probably used some kind of secret method to accelerate Ziyun's martial arts realm and cause it to erupt ahead of time. Without hesitation, Su Qingyang continued reading. But fortunately, although the cultivation has been brought forward, I have already prepared a secluded valley. It is desolate and rarely visited by people. As long as I hurry over and seal the formation gate, no one will be able to enter. I will get through the most difficult day of cultivation. On that day, I will lose my sanity and fall in love with any man I see when I wake up. The cultivation is extremely powerful, but the weaknesses are also so obvious. Sigh, I just don't know what the missing last page contains. The cultivation can never be perfected. When will these 10 years finally come to an end? Ziyun.jpg. Cultivation location. Ghost Valley, with the protection of the Mountain Guard Formation and the 10,000 Sword Formation. Suddenly, Su Qingyang discovered that the last line of handwriting clearly stated where that location was. Isn't it just a place that is remote from the Holy Land and rarely visited by anyone? There are no exotic beasts or human presence there. In short, there are few signs of life. And Ziyun even wrote down what formations are there, the characteristics of the formations, and how to break them. So when Su Qingyang saw this secret of Elder Ziyun, she felt that she was particularly mysterious. Why would she say that? Because it gives off a feeling of not wanting a man, but wanting someone to know her secret. Otherwise, why would she write down the secrets of the formations so clearly? Isn't this the behavior of a repressed and perverted woman? But fortunately, even though it's said like this, Su Qingyang has seen Elder Ziyun several times. The appearance is no less than Wu Qingran. It can be said to be a double flower in the Holy Land. Just a little older in age. Maybe 100 or so years old. But that doesn't matter. What is the common sense of cultivation? Anyone under 200 years old is considered a young talent. This is not a joke. For cultivators who can live for tens of thousands of years, the age of 200 years passes in the blink of an eye. So, the 100-year-old Ziyun, to be honest, is just a teenage girl, but at most a mature-looking girl. The key is, she has something that Qin Shui doesn't have. A perfect body. She truly detests men from the beginning of her cultivation practice. In her previous life, she was taken advantage of by the scoundrel Lin Tian, so she can't let him succeed in this life. Hee, Lin Tian, let me help you with this. You can't handle a woman like her. Su Qingyang smirked, knowing so much information. It can be said that the system's talent is powerful. What does Lin Tian have to compete with him? However, Su Qingyang is still cautious. He must absolutely not let Lin Tian obtain this opportunity. After all, Ziyun's 10 years of cultivation is enough to make him on par with Su Qingyang in terms of realm. At that time, Su Qingyang would truly have no chance to resist Lin Tian's visit. After all, Lin Tian, as the male lead, can easily fight against higher levels. On the other hand, Su Qingyang is actually at a disadvantage in battle. He must absolutely crush Lin Tian to prevent him from turning the tables. Husband, aren't you going to sleep? Qin Shui, who had been strolling with Wu Qingran all night, walked past the window and saw Su Qingyang looking at the night sky and moon outside, thinking that he was enjoying the scenery. Hee, Shui, it's been so long, and you still can't wait a little longer. No, not today, okay. Su Qingyang gave a playful smile, leaving Qin Shui puzzled. But thinking about what he said, could it be a deliberate move to capture her heart? Annoying. Whether my husband agrees or not, I will still follow you. And then, the night passed without any words, and Su Qingyang really didn't do anything to Qin Shui. If he said no, there must be a reason for it. Early in the morning, around 5 or 6 o'clock, Su Qingyang set off. He wouldn't slack off on this matter. He must surpass the protagonist's persistence. If he missed this opportunity, when Lin Tian grows up, it would be a scene of him getting beaten up by the saint child. Su Qingyang wouldn't give Lin Tian any chance. Looking at the location and route map secretly provided by the elder, Su Qingyang hurriedly went on his way. As a saint child, naturally, he possessed extremely powerful flying techniques and flying boats. How fast could he go? Except for when he stopped to show his token when leaving the Holy Land, Su Qingyang's speed was simply astonishing. But there was someone who arrived before Su Qingyang. As for who it was the person involved in the incident. In a secluded valley, surrounded by dense forests. Strangely, there was not a trace of the aura of any strange beasts here. It made people wonder what had happened in this place. There were only plants and trees. Squeak, a sound came out, but the person who made this sound clearly didn't have the intention to listen. They were in a hurry to continue their journey. Leaves were swirling in the air, indicating that the person traveling was moving at an extremely fast speed. A figure in a purple long dress appeared, exuding an extravagant aura. However, her face was filled with a coldness, as if she were made of ice. Her eyes were filled with malice and hatred. No one understood what had happened to her. But it was clear from her extreme hatred that if she saw someone, she would definitely kill them. Yes, this person was Elder Ziyun, also known as Lin Tian's master, Ziyun. Ziyun was rushing at a fast pace, probably around 3:30 in the early morning, and no one knew about her departure. As for the sacred ground, as the chief formation and alchemy master of the sacred ground, she naturally had a secret passage to leave without causing any commotion. On this matter, Ziyun was extremely cautious. She nervously traveled, heading towards her destination. It was the Ghost Valley. The Ghost Valley, named after its association with ghosts. But it was not the case. It was mainly a place of tranquility. Before long, Ziyun arrived. With her opening heaven cultivation, her traveling speed was still extremely fast. She could cover thousands of miles in minutes. In the Ghost Valley, wildflowers bloomed, filled with a charming meaning. Even when Ziyun arrived here, her extreme hatred and malice seemed to be purified by the ethereal atmosphere of this place. She smiled and let out a sigh of relief. Ziyun raised her hand and formed seals, activating a protective mountain formation and an illusion formation, enveloping the Ghost Valley within a few miles. No one was allowed to intrude. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.